Okay. Let me see.
Yeah, there we go. We live.
Okay. So is it live? Let me
Yeah, man, you
see.
live. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Okay. So is it live?
There you go. You live.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Well, welcome to Locked On Longhorns, the first annual live Locked On Longhorns fantasy draft with my brother Nick Battle. Y'all know him as Nino's Corner Sports. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be drafting the 20 most important Texas football players on the team in 2022. And Nino's going to start with the first pick, and then we're going to go back and forth. We're going to tell you why we drafted them and why they're going to be important to this football team this year. And then we're going to compare teams at the end, see who has the better team. And then after that, we're going to do a live Q&A, man. We want to get y'all comments and answer as many questions as we can while we're here on live. So we're going to wait for a few more people to come in. Once again, the Locked On Longhorns, the first annual fantasy draft, drafting these Longhorn players. We're going to try to do this every year the Sunday before Texas football kicks off and really start a tradition. But while we still, getting some people in, we see 12 people already. So getting some people in. We got to talk about Nebraska yesterday before we get into the draft. We know people fashionably late. So Nick, you know what I'm saying? Nino, talk to me. Like, what you see yesterday with Nebraska and Northwestern? College football is back, and obviously Texas fans had a lot of reason to watch Nebraska yesterday. Your former starting quarterback Casey Thompson is out there. Marcus Washington is out there, and then O'Shawn Mathis, who spurned the Longhorns for the Cornhuskers, was out there. What did you see from them? What did you see from Nebraska as a whole, man?
Ooh, kind of reminded me of Texas in 2020. Or I'm sorry, 2021.
Ooh.
2020 would have been a compliment. That was a 7-3 season. But I don't know, man. Seeing Casey out there in the first half do his thing, I'm a Casey fan. If anybody don't know me, you can ask Texas Homer. I used to text him all the time, like, Casey, he has guts. He's tough. I will give him that. Casey's one tough SOB. But I think the fans of Nebraska last night, or, actually yesterday, they got the full season of what Texas fans have been seeing the whole season, where Casey is great on the script. And then after the script, there's time for him to try to play, like kind of like playground, sand lot kind of ball. And he did good. He had, like you say, Jay, Jay, the like the play of the year with the scramble and, like getting like the long pass, or whatever. But other than that, man, it was, 2 interceptions. Could have been 3. Could have been 3 picks, So I don't know, man. Hey, I kind of feel bad for the Huskers, but that's on Scott Frost too, man. It's his fifth season. It's his 5th season.
Yeah, so the way I was looking at it, first we got to talk about O'Shawn Mathis, because I'm like, okay, he's one of the best players in the portal lane. I still wish him best of the luck. I hope he can get to the NFL and make that bag. But when I see he didn't even start the game, I'm like, okay, what's going on? And when he was out there, man, I don't even have to say anything about O'Shawn Mathis. Northwestern put up 500 yards on Nebraska, so I don't even have y'all. That'll tell y'all how the defense looked, but it just didn't look great, man. He was out there running and looked like he was running with a backpack on, man. Just that defense didn't look great at all. And then on offense, you talked about Casey Thompson, and he came out firing. And it looked like Mark Whipple really made him comfortable, was really setting things up for him. It looked like everything was first read. He knew where to go. He was real poised. And, like Shannon Sharp talks about it all the time with like the Cowboys, because I know we're both Cowboys fans. I'm sure there's some Cowboys fans watching. It's like, it doesn't matter if you have the number 1 offense in the league if you can't get a bucket or you can't get a touchdown when you need it. And it was the same thing with Nebraska and Northwestern. It was like in the beginning when there was no pressure, the game was intense, people weren't locked in. Casey was moving the ball up and down the field. But when you needed to play, he wasn't there. In the second half, they couldn't score. I think with 25 minutes in the game, they don't score at all. And they drew up a few, touchdown type plays where, all he had to do was hit the receiver deep, and he wasn't able to do that. So, you have to put that on Casey somewhere. I know receivers drop passes, but, I don't know. Yeah, the thing with the onside kick, it could have worked. It wasn't. It's dumb because it didn't work. But he's trying to step on their throats. So I don't know. But
nah, man. Hey, Scott Frost choked last night, and I think everybody saw it. And I think people understand that if he lasts past 6 games here this season, it's a miracle for him. I honestly think that he was going to get fired after last night. And folks, I have vested interest, in that school. I have a cousin who is committed to play at Nebraska next year, and so I'm silently rooting. Well, look, for me, it's not even silently rooting. I am rooting for them to do well because I want my cousin to do well when he gets there next year. So, hey, we'll see, man. We'll see.
All right, man. So we're gonna get into the draft once again. If you wasn't here when I introduced it at the top, so this is the first annual Locked On Longhorns Fantasy Texas Football Draft with my brother Nick Battle. Y'all know him as NinosCornerSports, and basically we're drafting the 20 most important football players on the Texas team this year. Nino's gonna start first. I'm gonna go after him, and we're gonna keep going back and forth until we finish. And then after that, with all the time we have left, a live Q&A. So, Nick, let's get right into it. I know they're ready. First pick, the most important player, according to you, on the Texas football team this year is who's your first draft pick?
My most important player for Texas right now, I'm going to go Xavier Worthy. And I think it's because, hey, look, we don't have anybody else on the team. We don't have anybody else on the team that has that skill set. Last year, what do you have, 92 yards or something like that?
Something like that. 981, I think.
Yeah, he averaged 15.7 yards a carry, and a catch, right? But that was with 7 or 8 missed deep balls, man. Like, I honestly think this year with the improved deep ball accuracy, I'm looking at Worthy to go 60 catches, 1,100 yards. I'm gonna say 11 TDs, and his catch. So his yards per catch this year is going to jump up from 15.7 last year to 18.3 this year. I just got him as my number one pick because there's nobody else on this team that we can make a carbon copy of him and be great with. So if we lose Worthy, our offense is out of there. We don't have another guy that's like him on that squad. And I think he's the most important person on the offense. And I think the offense is going to be the most important, actual side of the ball here.
Hey, Nino throwing curveballs already. He went Xavier Worthy with the first overall pick, the most important player on this Texas football team. And look, I agree with you. He's wide receiver 1 for a young quarterback, Blitnikoff candidate. So he's going to be definitely very essential to Quinn Ewers' growth this year. But if I was going to go with any offensive player with the number 1 pick, and I'm glad you left him on the board for me, give me Bijan Robertson, the best running back in the country. I did not think that Bijan Robinson would still be on the board when I picked second. You got to give me Bijan Robinson. I'm looking for Bijan Robinson, 1,700 to 1,800 yards from scrimmage this year. I think if he can get 1,300 to 1,400 rushing yards and maybe 300-400 receiving yards, I think that's exactly what he needs to do to continue to assert himself as the best running back in the country. And I think everything that Sark wants to do is still going to be run through Bijan Robinson. Yes, you have Quinn Ewers. Yes, you have the flashy tight ends. Yes, you have the flashy, receivers on the outside. But this is still a running football team. They're going to be in a lot of 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. And Bijan Robinson, shout out Nash. I see him. You know what I'm saying? Let me put it up. You know what I'm saying? Nash got his Bijan Robertson yesterday.
I saw it.
Bijan Robertson. Exactly. Put a picture in the chat. Bijan Robinson is the best running back in the country. He's still the most important player on this football team. I cannot believe you left him for me at second overall. I'm taking Bijan Robinson, looking for 1,700 to 1,800, scrimmage yards this year. My number 1 pick, Bijan Robinson, Heisman candidate.
Hey, man. Hey, look, the only reason that I left him at number 2, because he's my number 2 guy, is because if we lose Bijan, I think we still have a competent running back room with Rojo, with Jonathan Brooks, with Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue was hey guys, he was the freaking number 1 back in the country last year. You got Brooks, who was the top back in the state just like 2 years ago. And then you got Rojo, who is that team leader. So I think you have enough pieces in that room. I don't think we have enough pieces in the wide receiver room to lose, a Worthy. But yeah, hey, look, I got Bijan 250 carries, 1,500 yards, 14 TDs. And I got him having about 43 catches for 450 yards and 5 TDs. And from what Rob Baber says, the 30 carry guy and the 40 catch guy, it's only been done 3 times here at Texas, twice by Eric Metcalf, once by Chris Obinawa. I think Bijan's going to be the 4th person in the history of the school to do that.
Okay, I like that. And I like your Xavier Worthy reasoning, you know what I'm saying? But I have to say, I think I won the first round, getting Bijan Robinson over Xavier Worthy. So who's your second pick, third pick overall, first pick in the second round? Who's your second most important player on this football team? Now you got Xavier Worthy.
All right, so
Nino has
you guys
Xavier
are going
Worthy.
to
I have
beat me
Bijan
up.
Robinson. Y'all gotta let me know in the chat, man. Who y'all gotta keep us updated. Who win in the draft? Even though I'm winning right now, I got Bijan. He got Xavier Worthy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, sir. Who's your second round pick?
You guys are going to beat me up on this, but this is about the most important player on the team, not the best player, right? I think the second or third most important player on this team right now, due to the events that happened over the past couple of weeks, I think it's Jake Majors. And I say that because, hey, look, we just had him cross-training with Junior Angelau for the whole offseason. And, hey, if this were 2 weeks ago, I'd be like, hey, center is easy. Hey, it's going to be Jake Majors or Junior. Junior gets hurt. We have Jake Majors starting. We got to pray to God that Jake doesn't get hurt. Because now who is going to take those snaps at center if Jake Majors gets hurt this year? So I think Jake Majors is my third most important player in this team because we cannot afford for him to get injured and have somebody else learn how to be a center, call the calls out from the offensive line standpoint, get everybody in position, do what they're supposed to do, and be the true leader of, just of the line.
It's kind of harder to tell when you're talking offensive line, but are there any key stats or anything you're looking for from Jake Majors this year? Maybe just 12 games started, 13 games started, something like that?
Starting all the games first off, because we don't have any more centers on the team.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, facts. If anybody needs to start all 12, it's Jake Majors.
It's Jake Majors. And then also, I want to look at just pressures that he allows from the quarterback. And, I was trying to, actually see those numbers last night. I didn't get a chance to get them, but he has to limit that. He has to get stronger at the point of attack. I think everybody knows that. He's a smart player. You can tell he's smart. He's like a damn scientist out there. You can see his mind thinking. It's just his strength doesn't match it yet. So if he can match that, his strength with his smarts, man, I think we'll be good.
All right, man. So this is setting up for me perfectly. This is why you can do the mocks all day. You can do the mocks all day, but until the draft actually happens, I didn't think I was going to get Bijan Robinson. I thought my first pick, who now is going to be my second round pick, Steve Sarkisian said it's the most important position in sports. So why would I not take it? Quinn Ewers, right? Quinn Ewers is the starting quarterback for this football team. The ceiling of this football team, how many wins this football team has this year, is going to be determined by Quinn Ewers, his development, if he's ready. Is he close to the initial rankings where he was the number one overall recruit in his class? Is he closer to that? Or is he closer to, gunslinger, makes too many mistakes, not ready? We've heard about progressions and reads and all of that. But either way, the success of this football team this year is not going to be dependent on any one player more than it is Quinn Ewers. And when we talk about the most important stat for Quinn Ewers this year, it's going to be interceptions. So I did a show with Jeremy and Clint from Texas Football Talk. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to them. They're trying to get 5,000 by the Red River Shootout. So make sure y'all show them some love. Texas Football Talk. And Jeremy was saying he had him in the 12 to 15 interception range this year.
Yeah.
I think for Texas to achieve the goals they want to have this year, Quinn has to be under the 13 interception threshold. I'm going to give him one interception a game. I'm going to give him one more, give him 13. But I don't think 14, 15, once you get in that range, that's just not clean football. So Quinn Ewers is my number 2 pick, right? So Nino has, who does he have? Xavier Worthy and Jake Majors. I have Bijan Robinson and Quinn Ewers. He's just the most important football player on this team. You don't believe me? Sark said it, the most important position in sports. My second round pick, number 4 overall, Quinn Ewers. Who you going with at number 5, brother?
At number 5,
let them know, man. I just got to. They ain't said it in the chat yet, but I'm winning the draft, man. So I'm winning the draft. So far, I got Bijan and Quinn Ewers. So
this isn't about the best player. This is about most important player to the team.
Bijan and Quinn not important.
Well, no, I didn't say that. But if Quinn gets hurt, if he gets hurt, we have a Hudson Card to back him up. Now, I'm not saying Hudson is going to be Quinn, but I'm saying that I think this offense can do just enough to win next year with a guy like Hudson Card. But I got Quinn Ewers, just stats for next year. I think he is going to blow the Texas record books up in his first year starting. Good. I think it's going to have 68. I'm going to say 68% completion percentage next year. I'm going to say 3,600 yards. I'm going to say 33 touchdowns, and I'm going to say 11 picks next year. I think those are going to be Quinn's numbers next year. And if Quinn can get that, and I honestly think, just looking back at the quarterbacks, over Sark's, like tenure, at Bama, and also, like in Washington as well, 3,600 yards is very, very achievable in this offense. Very achievable. And I think Quinn definitely has the arm talent to do that. So, yeah, I'm saying 6-8%. I'm saying 3,600 yards. I'm saying 33 TDs and 11 picks for Quinn. But
and I was gonna say real quick, shout out to Steven, Fanatic Perspective. Most of y'all know him as well. He posted when Casey Thompson, like the top passing performances from basically in Texas history, and like Casey Thompson touchdown wise already has 3 of them, right? just from Sark's offense. So you would imagine that if Quinn Ewers is everything we think he is, he's gonna come right in and kind of break a lot of those records. We got Billy Burr saying under 11 picks. You know what I'm saying? That the less the better for Quinn Ewers. I don't know if I see under 11.
I don't see either.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
think it's plus 10. I think it's gonna be plus 10.
I think it's plus 10 as well. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Look, you drinking the Kool-Aid, I'm drinking Modelo, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, who you got with your 5th pick, brother?
All right, my next pick, man, is going to be. Let me hold on down the list. Jake Majors. I got Barron, man. I got Barron at the star position.
I like that.
Yeah, I think he's our best cover corner on the team. Even when they go to base defense, I heard that he's staying on the field, and I heard that Ryan Watts is going off the field. So that lets you know he's going to play a lot next year. He's our best cover guy, like pretty much just like actually per stats, a good tackler, a good guy in space. I think he's going to be very, very invaluable to this team. We need people who can cover. We saw how many times we got blown out the field last year with deep balls. So yeah, I got Barron as my next pick. I think next year he's going to have a really good season. I'm saying 65 tackles. I'm saying 5 tackles for loss. I'm saying 2 picks. I'm thinking about 5 passes defended and 1 forced fumble. And if he can do that from that nickel position, a la like a PJ Locke kind of guy, I think we'll be really good here next year.
Really like the Jahdae Barron pick. Like you said, all the reports have said he's the best corner on the team. And regardless of what defense they're in, whether in their base packages or sub packages, he's going to find a way to be on the field. A little concerned. I think Sark said he's back to practicing, but he was in the booth. And we heard a lot about Jalen Gilbo and Michael Taft showing some really good things at that position as well. So I think we'll be good at that position regardless, but you need a great corner in today's college football, especially a corner that can cover in space. With all of these offenses, spread offenses, and the way they can attack you. And I think Jahdae Barron is probably our best candidate to be our best corner this year. So I really like that pick. So just a quick recap. Nino, with his first 3 picks, is taking Xavier Worthy, Jake Majors, and Jahdae Barron. My first pick was Bijan Robinson. My second pick was the mullet, Quinn Ewers. And he just keeps leaving these picks on the board for me. He keeps setting the table for me. Nino, wise man once told me 3 most important positions in sports: the person that throws the ball, the person that protects the person that throws the ball, and the person that's trying to sack the person that throws the ball. I already got the person that throws the ball in Quinn Ewers. Give me his blindside protector in Kelvin Banks. We looked at this offensive line last year, and the offensive line wasn't great. And a lot of people said, look, this was the 17th scoring offense with a shaky offensive line, with inconsistent wide receiver and quarterback play last year. A lot of people think this will be a lot better, but it starts with Quinn Ewers' blindside protection, right? He's a young quarterback. He needs confidence. And what's a better way to be confident than knowing you don't have to worry about anybody coming off that right side at all, right? Because Kelvin Banks is your left tackle. I know he's a freshman. I know it's going to be some growing pains, but Kelvin Banks is going to be key to this offense improving on a 17th ranked scoring mark last year. And he's the left tackle. And Quinn Ewers has to have confidence that Kelvin Banks is holding down the fort over there on the left side for him to be able to efficiently move this offense. Also, John Garcia, friend of the show, if you watch Locked on Longhorns, director of football recruiting at Sports Illustrated. Yeah, he's a beast. Yeah. He, one of the best in the business. He said that Kelvin Banks is one of the best pass blockers he's covered recruitment-wise in recent years. I think that the University of Texas in the trenches has been missing the type of prospects like Kelvin Banks on this offensive line. Look, they said Kelvin Banks is the type of players that Georgia has won with, Alabama has won with, Ohio State has won with. Teams have beat Texas with, because we haven't had these types of players in the trenches. We finally got one. We may talk about another one I may be able to draft here in a little bit on the offensive line, a true freshman as well. But give me Kelvin Banks, and the most key stat for him this year, 12 games started, 12 games of development, 12 games played, right? We have a chance. Kelvin Banks has a chance to go into his true sophomore year with 12 to 14 starts under his belt. He has a chance to go into his true junior year with 24 to 28 starts under his belt. At that point, we're going to have one of the best offensive lines in the nation, and it's going to be anchored by Kelvin Banks. But a left tackle is always going to be one of the most important players on the football team. So give me Kelvin Banks with my third pick. I now have Bijan Robinson, Quinn Ewers, and Kelvin Banks. I'm off to an early lead. Let's see if Nino can catch up. Nino, who's your seventh pick? Who's the first pick of the fourth round, man? Because I'm dominating right now. I can't, you know what I'm saying?
All right, so look at this. All right, so Banks was my next guy. All right. All right. So after Banks, I got Demo. You know,
okay, great pick.
I got him because he's just probably going to be the most versatile player here on the defense. Yes, when I heard that PK went to go meet with Dan Quinn, you know, I was talking to the boys at Texas Football Talk, and I was like, look, he was over there talking to Dan Quinn saying, how can I get Demo to look a little bit like Micah Parsons? You know, like how can I move my chess piece around to make him so much more versatile than what I've used him in, you know, like just the past year. And so I'm looking at Overshown, man. I'm saying next year, 70 tackles. I'm looking at 8.5 tackles for loss. I'm looking at 5 sacks, 6 quarterback hurries on top of those sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. I think he's going to be all over the field. I think he's going to be a monster. I think they're going to make him, you know, Texas's chess piece just on the defense with the emergence of Tucker Dorsey and Jaylen Ford as well. And, he's going to blitz from everywhere. So, I got Demo. That's my next pick.
How many – if I missed it, I'm sorry. How many sacks you got him getting this year?
I got 5 sacks for him this year.
5 sacks. You think 5 sacks? This is a team that only had 20 sacks last year. You think 5 sacks is enough to improve on a pass rush?
I think
that was abysmal last year. Let's be honest.
I think so, because I got a feeling that he's going to get more sacks. I got a feeling like a guy like Byron Murphy's going to get more sacks this year. I got a feeling that, you know, Ovi's going to do pretty decent this year when it comes to sacks, because I think these guys are just an extra year, you know, like in the system, you know, and with them having that extra year, they know the system just a little bit better. Hopefully PK has looked at his players and kind of knows that he can't run what he really wants to run yet, and has had, you know, some time this offseason to look at better ways to scheme a guy like Demo and to scheme Ovi, you know. So hopefully that can happen. I'm thinking 5 sacks should be enough for him. I'm thinking Byron's going to get more sacks. I'm thinking Ovi's going to get more sacks. So this is going to be like a sack by committee.
Okay. I like that. So give me a second. I was going to go Byron Murphy with my next pick, but you didn't took a linebacker off the board. So I'm gonna go with a linebacker myself. You talked about, and these two players are going to play great in conjunction, but this is somebody we've talked about a lot on Locked On Longhorns on every Texas channel. I think he's going to be the most important transfer on the defensive side. Give me Diamante Tucker Dorsey with my fourth pick. Give me Diamante Tucker Dorsey with my 4th pick. My first defensive pick. I had to switch to the defensive side because, you know what I'm saying, he started to tap in on that defense. Look, I know he's coming from the FCS level. I know he's undersized. I think about 5'10", 215. But when you talk about dog and heart, that's what we've been missing at the linebacker position for a few years. That's what Diamante Tucker Dorsey has. Listen to the stat line. I tried to find it real quick on Google. I couldn't get to it fast enough, so I'll just recite it off the top of my head. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. 119 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss. I think 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles last year. Diamante Tucker Dorsey is just a player that's always going to be around the ball. He's a thumper in the run game, and I think he has the athleticism to cover as well. But the most important thing, what you talked about, is him next to Jaylen Ford gives you 2 formidable linebackers in Pete Chakowski's system that allows you to move Demarvion Overshown around as a chess piece. I don't think you're able to flex Demarvion Overshown as a pass rusher as much if you don't bring in Diamante Tucker-Dorsey in the transfer portal. So I think he's going to be really key to this defense being really good. But, I love the pick with Demarvion Overshown, and I think that Diamante Tucker-Dorsey comes in and picks right up, where he was at the FCS level last year. If I had to talk about the most important stat for him, I think that he is probably the strongest candidate, him or Jaylen Ford, to lead the team in tackles. So I'm not going to give a number, but I'm going to say Diamante Tucker-Dorsey leads the team in tackles this year. I have that much confidence in him as a playmaker and just a dog. So my fourth pick, my first defensive pick, I went linebacker at Diamante Tucker-Dorsey. So quick recap once again. Nino has had Xavier Worthy, Jake Majors, Jade Barron, and Demarvion Overshown. Really good picks. I have Bijan Robinson, Quinn Ewers, Kelvin Banks, and Diamante Tucker-Dorsey, otherwise known as Tuck. So the 9th overall pick, who you got, Nino?
I got, let me see. I got Byron Murphy.
Damn. Okay. And Byron Murphy was going to be my last pick, but I'm like, let me go ahead and get linebacker. I got too cute. And then, of course, you take Byron Murphy. I got too cute. Go ahead.
I got to get Byron Murphy, man, because Byron Murphy.
Yeah, you do.
Look,
that's
man,
a good one.
Just in limited, like snaps last year, what do you have, like 18 tackles, I think 3 or 4 tackles for loss. He had 2 sacks last year, and he had limited snaps. Very limited. So I think this year being the guy, I think he can be in that 35 to 40 tackle range. I think he can be around 8 tackles for loss. I think he can have about, I would say like 4 sacks this year. And also, maybe 1 or 2 forced fumbles as well. I just think you have a guy, you talked about the dog in Tucker-Dorsey. If you got a dog in Tucker-Dorsey, you pair him with a dog in Murphy. Murphy's a dog in that middle, right? So, we need guys with that kind of attitude on that defense. Defense is crazy, right? You got to be half crazy to play defense, right? There's got to be something wrong with you to just want to go kill somebody every play. And he has that in him. And so, I'm like, honestly, I'm looking for Byron Murphy to do big things this year, man.
No, I really like that pick, man. Keandre Coburn came out and said that, he was the best player on the defense, right? And so I think he's one of the strongest players on the team. It was a 3-game stretch last year. I think it was Iowa State, West Virginia, and Kansas, where he had, I forget how many tackles for loss, but he had a 16% pressure rate, and he had 1.5 sacks in those 3 games. And, with him as your nose tackle, I think that he's perfectly capable of showing that consistency across the year. So I think he's perfectly capable of getting you 4 to 6 sacks. But I think he asserts himself as one of the best defensive players on that line this year, and one of the best defensive players in the country. In the conference this year, I'll say, I'll be humble. And then, I think, we talk about, Quinn Ewers is going to be here next year. A lot of people have talked about how 2023 really is the year, right? I think they can, compete for a Big 12 title this year. But as far as national championship, Robert said I need a big pick here. Apparently I'm losing, but I think he's one of the best, defensive players in the conference this year, and he'll be back next year as well. And so I think he'll really assert himself as one of the best defensive players in the country. So Nino's coming on strong, man. Demarvion Overshown and Byron Murphy. I really like those picks. I'm going to go back to the offensive side. Right? I'm going to go back to the offensive side.
Please don't pick who I want you. Please don't do it. Who you got?
All right, we're going to see, man. It's a draft, man. I don't know. You took Byron Murphy. That means you might have left somebody on the field. I'm going off of what our head coach said. As Sark said, the quarterback, most important position in sports.
Okay, I know you said.
I'm going to ask you, what did he say the second most important position in his offense is?
Tight end.
So I'm going with JT Sanders. I'm going with JT Sanders as my next pick. Look. This was a top 20 player in the country coming out of high school. Now, a lot of people thought that he would play defense, but he came out and said, JT Sanders said, when Sark got the job, I knew I was playing offense. You're talking about a freak athlete at the position, somebody that was poised to play, on the edge, right? So you obviously know he's a freak athlete. And we've seen the highlights of JT Sanders, just like John Garcia said, rebounding in the post. Like he's just rebounding, catching balls over defenders. And Sark said, if I'm not mistaken, he may have the strongest hands on the team. We know he's automatic when the ball is in his catch radius, huge catch radius. He's going to catch the ball. But I think he's going to be a safety, a security blanket for Quinn Ewers. He's going to be able to catch the ball. We've talked on and off camera about tight ends Robert said I might have sealed the deal. Hello. You know what I'm saying? We talked on and off camera about how we didn't have tight ends that could stretch the field last year. And I think now with Jaleel Billingsley and JT Sanders, we really do have tight ends that can stretch the field. But not only, him providing a weapon and a security blanket for Quinn Ewers, we know that this team is going to run a lot of 12 personnel with 2 tight ends on the field. And he's going to have to block a lot for Bijan Robinson and that stable of running backs that you mentioned earlier, Roschon Johnson, Keelan Robinson, Jaden Blue, and Jonathan Brooks as well. So I'm going with him as my next most important pick because I think that he's going to be a key receiver for Quinn Ewers, but also his blocking is going to determine how potent this run game is this year. So I have to go with JT Sanders. Key stat for me this year, it's tough. I'm going to say at least 4 touchdowns. I'm going to be humble with JT, especially with Jaleel Billingsley. I'm going to say 4 touchdowns this year. But really, what's most important than any stats or anything is just the mismatches and the threat he's going to pose to the defense in the red zone. I need him to be our number 1 red zone threat. I need him to be an above average blocker for Bijan Robinson in that stable of running backs. And I need him to be an elite receiver for Quinn Ewers. I think he has the capability to do both. And that's why he's my next pick. JT Sanders, my favorite.
I actually like that. I actually like that pick. So
thank you, Nino. I'm humbled.
Hey, just to piggyback on that one, man, I got him going about 25 receptions, about 300 yards, and about 4 TDs next year. But I was just going back and looking at Sark's offense and how much he did use the tight end, to actually catch the ball. It's not as big of a percentage as you would think, right? And so, since he does run a whole bunch of 12 personnel, he kind of splits it a lot. So I think having a guy like Billingsley there as well, having a Gunnar Helm and a Juan Davis as well, I think even if we didn't have JT Sanders, who I think is the best by far, I think in a 12 personnel set, a guy like Gunnar Helm can come in and block, very well. He can stretch the field more than what we had in K Brewer last year as well. But that's a really good pick. Sanders is a stud, a beast.
Yeah, hold on. We about halfway through the draft, man. Y'all gotta let me know in the chat who went in the draft, man. Y'all, who's winning the draft? We about halfway through. I'll give y'all a recap. So Nino's got Xavier Worthy, Jake Majors, Jade Barron, Demarvion Overshown, and Byron Murphy. He's went heavy on the defense. Really good picks thus far. I have Bijan Robinson, Quinn Ewers, Kelvin Banks, Deontay Tucker Dorsey, and JT Sanders. Y'all let us know who's winning the draft so far, man.
That's pretty good.
Let's go. All right. Go ahead, Nino. We both killing it. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. Longhorn content creators. We know what we're talking about. But go ahead, Nino.
So my next guy is gonna be Jordan Whittington.
I left him on the board too long.
Great, man. I love Jordan Whittington. I think he's probably the next most important player because we saw exactly what this offense was last year once he got hurt, and everybody knew who the ball was going to in the passing game. And so now that our second wide receiver is hurt, Nayer, we got Whittington here. Pray to God nothing happens between, Xavier Worthy or Bijan, because if something happens with Worthy or if something happens with Whittington, Worthy's going to get all that attention again because we don't have that other receiver opposite of him, right? So I got Jordan Whittington as my next most important player. I'm saying 50, catches next year, about 725 yards and 6 TDs. He reminds me so much of I'm not gonna say like a Debo Samuel type guy because I don't want to put that on him, but he is a guy who can catch the ball. He's a guy who can also run the ball. He looks more like a running back after he catches the ball, So I just love his game, and I think if he is healthy for the entire season, his best thing next year is 12 games. I need 12 healthy games of Jordan Whittington, along with 12 healthy games of Worthy, along with another 12 healthy games of JT Sanders. And I think this passing game would be great.
I love that pick. I had definitely had Jordan Whittington high on my list. I definitely didn't have deviated from the list a little bit, but now Jordan Whittington definitely, I think you got to steal. I think he's a top 10 most important player. You got him down here at 12. So that's a great pick. And, you know what I'm saying? That's why I enlisted you to come on here, bro, because you know what you're talking about.
Appreciate it.
I want to go with this pick, but I know you're not gonna take him next, so I'm gonna save him for a little bit. I'm gonna go a little off the menu right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go a little off the menu. I know I could get him later, but I want to talk about him right now. Friend of the show, I love his dad. Give me Cole Hudson. I'm coming right back to the offensive line. I'm coming back to the offensive line with Cole Hudson. Right? We talked about this offensive line last year. It wasn't great, and I keep citing Texas Football Talk. I love, my favorite set of brothers, but they talked about Quinn Ewers representing hope for this football team. But I think what represents hope as much for this football team as the quarterback does is these new players on the offensive line, bringing in 7 offensive linemen in this class, one of the highest graded offensive line classes ever. And when you look at Cole Hudson, he wasn't the highest graded guard that Texas brought in, but I think he came in with a dog mentality from day one, enrolled early, and took advantage of all his opportunities. And that's why he's likely your starter at right guard against Louisiana Monroe on September 3rd. And I got this from John Garcia the other day, once again, friend of the show, director of football recruiting at Sports Illustrated. Over 100 pancakes last year in like 12, 13 something games. Just a physical mauler, like somebody that's just going to put, put a lot of people on their knees. I don't know if he'll be able to do that. Obviously, you want to have 100 pancakes this year at the college level, right? But he has that mentality, like somebody, you never know, but somebody that all of our running backs can run behind is somebody that is just going to be a dog in the trenches. And so we talked about this offensive line needed to be better for this offense to achieve what they want to achieve this year. And I think it starts with the new blood on the offensive line. And since I got Kelvin Banks, I'm going to double up and take Cole Hudson. And I think the most important stat for him is the same stat for Kelvin Banks. Like I said, he has a chance to go into his true sophomore year with 12 to 14 starts under his belt and go into his true junior year with 24 to 28 starts under his belt. And I think this offensive line is going to be one of the best in the country over the next few years based off this 22 and 23 class. So give me Cole Hudson with my next pick for sure.
All right, yeah, that's a great pick. All right, so my draft, man, is going to be more defense focused. I'm only going more defense focused because last year our offense was the top 30 offense, and we didn't have nearly the amount of firepower that we have this year.
We didn't have a top 30 defense.
No,
we didn't have a top 30 defense.
No, we had the 100th ranked defense. By
triple digits.
Yeah, So my whole thing is if this defense can get to average defense in college, which is like the number 65th ranked defense. Hell, if they can go to below average and be the number 70th ranked defense here in the country, this team will win 9 games this year. Okay. The defense just has to be average. So my next pick is going to be Jaylen Ford.
Ooh, like it.
So I need Jaylen Ford to be that guy because if him or Tucker Dorsey gets hurt this year and we got to move Overshown back, to the inside, that's going to, basically mess up everything that PK wants to do with Overshown by making him the chess piece. I think Jaylen Ford and Tucker Dorsey are true middle linebackers, something that Demo isn't, right? So he's just learning the position, right? So these guys are true inside linebackers who have played it their whole career. So they know the instincts. They have every freaking intangible when it comes to playing that position. I think he is going to be all over the field this year. I think he's going to be the leading tackler on this team. I got 85 tackles for Jaylen Ford.
Okay.
I got 7 tackles for loss. I got 1.5 sacks, 1 pick, and 1 forced fumble. But I think he's going to be one of the most important players on this team because he's going to be one of those linebackers that can stay on the field all 3 downs. And if that happens, and if he's healthy, and if Tucker Dorsey's healthy, I think we'll be in good business.
Yeah, so I recently put myself through the pain of going back and watching all of the Texas games last year. But one play that just sticks out in my mind is Jaylen Ford making that stop on the 2-point conversion against Oklahoma State. Yes. I just the way, and because look, I'm gonna be honest, and y'all can tell me in the chat if I'm tripping. I don't think that Luke Brockermeyer was bad last year. I think that he was. He just didn't have the athleticism. Exactly. He didn't have the athleticism to make plays. He was where he needed to be.
Yeah.
But Jaylen Ford has the athleticism to really make plays at the linebacker position. And no play screamed that more last year than him stopping that running back. I don't know if it was Warren or not with Oklahoma State in his tracks when they tried to tie the game. Ultimately, they came back and won it. But, if there's a play that encapsulates what Jaylen Ford is as a linebacker, it's that play against Oklahoma State. And that was one of my biggest takeaways from going back and watching all the games last year is Jaylen Ford is a dog. And he needed to get a lot more plays on that defensive side this year, and I think he will. I love that pick. You've really been on fire with your last couple of picks after giving me the 3 most important players on the team to start off. All right. So, man, we having fun, right? We having fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm going to go a little off the menu here. I've been going off the menu. I'm higher on this player than probably all 56 people watching right now. I know I'm higher on this player than Nino. And Nino already took a corner, so I'm going to take a corner. I have to say from doing this show, he's probably the most controversial player on the team. Whenever I talk about him on the show, everybody gets in my comments. I'm tired of seeing him. I've seen enough, whatever. I got faith in him. This is a defense. What'd you say that was in triple digits last year?
Yeah, 100.
So this is a defense that needs to force turnovers, right?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay. This is a defense that needs to force turnovers. And I know what they've said before. Oh, he only does it in practice. But, this is the first time in 4 years that Texas has been in the same defensive system 2 years in a row.
The same position coach twice in a row for this guy. I know you're about to say.
So I think my boy going to be a little bit more comfortable this year. And my key stat for him, I'm creating suspense. My key stat for him, 4 interceptions this year. I think he'll be able to do it, flip the field, and put the ball back in the hands of the mullet Quinn Ewers. With my next pick, give me Deshawn Jameson. Look, I know y'all are down on him. I know y'all seen him get beat. I know y'all seen him on the double moves. I know he's left a lot to be desired at times. Look, Victor, don't do it, right? Don't do it. Give me Deshawn Jameson. Look, I'm bullish on Deshawn Jameson. I know y'all are not. He's going to turn it around this year. He's going to have at least 4 interceptions. He's going to be a playmaker in the return game and at corner. He's going to be a big reason why this defense turns around. Once again, finally giving him some continuity at the 40 acres. And he's a playmaker, right? And I think he has the best chance of turning the ball over and putting the ball back in the hands of the mullet and this talented offense who should improve on the 17th ranked scoring offense last year. So I know that, Deshawn Jameson has kind of lost some favor with the Texas fans, but I'm still bullish on Deshawn. And I'm going a little off the menu here. I know I could have got him in a few later rounds, but I kind of just wanted to talk my stuff. You know what I'm saying? 4 interceptions this year for Deshawn Jameson. I'm still on the shark train. I'm still swimming in the water. You know what I'm saying? Give me Deshawn Jameson.
You know what, though? I need
to hear. Okay.
Yeah, I actually like that pick. I got him a little bit lower in the draft, but, I have him on my list, right? And so, my thing with him, I think he's going to have 40 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss. I got 3 picks this year for him, and I got 8 passes defended this year. But the key stat for him is not just being a good corner, it's the kickoff return and the punt returns. And I think he's going to have a touchdown in both, at least one in both. And this is his year. All right. His back's against the wall. This is the Sharks' money year. All right. So if anybody has something to prove, it is Jameson. And so he needs to come out here, like a dog, which I think he is going to come out this year, and if he comes out and just proves himself, like, I think we all know he has the talent. We just got to see it materialize on the field now. Right. And so, I shouldn't say it like that. Just be more consistent with it, because there have been glimpses where you're like, oh man, there you go. Right. And then there's been glimpses like, you know what I'm saying? So I think this year, those moments are going to be out of there. And I pray and I hope that he does what he's supposed to this year. This is his money year. I got faith in him as well, man. Like I say, I think he'll get 3 picks, but I think he's also going to get 1 kickoff return and one actual punt return here for TD. Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
Hey, it's crazy you said that. Look at the comment on the screen. It's crazy you just said that.
Yep. Definitely.
Yep. Shout out Steven. Yes, sir. That's why he can put points on the board, whether it's pick sixes or returns. That's why I got Deshawn Jameson. So it could either be a reach when we come back and look at this. Maybe we need to do a recap show at the end of the year. It could be a reach, or it could be, it could turn out to be a steal. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna see his boom or bust for sure.
All right. My next pick, man. I got Rojo. As my next pick.
And I said, I was like, I'm gonna leave him on the board because I know you're not gonna take him. And what'd you do? Take Rojo. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got Rojo, man.
You look, he's shouting on me right now. He's shouting on me. I ain't gonna lie.
I got Rojo. He's my next most important player on the team. And I say that, man, because we know that Sark likes to use his running backs, just a strict, like a bell cow, right? He's always had a bell cow, but he's always had that second guy who's come in and spell that bell cow. I think that this team is going to need Rojo for a game or two this year. Not to say that Bijan's going to be hurt, but let's just say Bijan, he might not have it that game, right? He might not just have it that game, which, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think Rojo's going to make his way in there, but he is the vocal leader of this team. He is the guy for this team. I think that he's going to have a pretty good season as well. I got him having about, 110 carries, 650 yards, 6 TDs. Also have him having about 15 catches this year for 130 yards and 1 extra TD. And he's just the heart and soul, man, And I think if he goes off, I think this team always follows him. Just look at the Kansas State game. I mean, he won that game by himself. You know, we couldn't pass the ball at all. He comes and wins the game pretty much by himself. So, yeah, I got Rojo as my next pick, man.
I love that. I love that pick. I love that pick for sure. And like you said, it's just more so about the leadership, right? When he got hurt, the first thing I was thinking, I think we talked about it. We had recorded an episode. I had to scrap it because we talked about. I just had to scrap it, but we did record it. We recorded the episode in the past, and we talked about that. Like, it's just hard to lead from the sidelines. You know, as good as a player as he is, I think he brings more of an asset to this team as a leader, right? And it's just hard to do that when you're not being on the field. So. You know, him being back out there and look like he'll be ready for week one is great news for this football team, because I think he just brings a calm and presence, and he's the true alpha, you know, which is hard to do when you're not, you know, the starter at your position, right? I mean, even though he's going to get a lot of touches, we obviously know Bijan Robertson, right, is, you know, I'm trying to pub his NIL, you know what I'm saying? So we know he's a driving force of this team. So the fact that Rojo is on most accounts the clear leader, I think that says a lot about him. So, I like that pick. I love that pick. So, Nino, I'm gonna ask you a question. How many sacks did this team have last year?
What we had, 26 or something? It wasn't much.
No, it was 20. It was worse than that. It was 20. So it was bad. Not enough, right? That's the answer. All right, not enough. And so I told you earlier, right? He said, JD, what you gonna do? Don't lose this lead in the fourth quarter. I don't think I will. So we said that we did see a former Texas quarterback lose the lead in the fourth quarter yesterday, though. I'm just kidding. But no. So we had 20 sacks last year. I said that the three most important positions in football: person that throws the football, so I took Quinn Ewers; person that protects the person that throws the football, so I took Kelvin Banks; and then the person that rushes the passer, or the person that throws the football. And I've noticed neither one of us has taken an edge rusher yet. And we getting down to the end. We getting close to 20. Neither one of us is taking the edge rusher. You took Demarvion. You took the chess piece.
I got Demo. I got the chess piece.
But neither one of us has taken an edge rusher yet. So I'm gonna ask you, who do you think is the most likely candidate to be our best edge rusher this year?
Outside of Overshown being the chess piece, I think the only person that you can honestly put there, because we haven't seen much film on anybody, you got to say Ovi.
And that's my pick, Ovio Gofu. Right. Thank you. The Notre Dame transfer. Look, when we talked about it, we've heard that he's had a good spring camp, a good spring. That, you know, we heard he had a good summer, and then we heard he's been good and the fall as well. And I think they're intrigued on what he can do if you just put him out there and give him a full-time role and tell him to go rush the passer. Not Colton Bassett. Somebody just said in the chat, Colton Bassett. Yeah, if we can flip him for sure, right? So I gotta go Ovia Gofu here. Look, I think that he's our most likely candidate to be our best edge rusher. And I'm gonna put a lot of pressure on him. I'm gonna put a lot of pressure on him right now and say 6 sacks this year. That's my mark for him. I think he needs 6 sacks. I think he's capable of it. I might be going a little high. You know, I might be drinking the Kool-Aid. I might be a little ambitious, but I think that we need, Ovia Gofu to assert himself. I think right now we have a great pass rush by committee. I think we have a lot of very talented players, but we need somebody to step up. We don't have a Joseph Osai, but we need a leader in this room. And I think the most likely to be that leader is Ovia Gofu. So I think this is an amazing value pick. If I could toot my own horn, if I could pat my own back, you know what I'm saying? I think this is an amazing value pick, getting our top edge rusher at 15, 16? You know what I'm saying? So right. I'm just saying, I'm going to Ovia Gofu. I know we don't have a sexy edge rusher. Of course, he would have been off the board by now. You know what I'm saying? We don't got a side. Look, Will Anderson would have been number 1. You know what I'm saying? in our draft. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But look, I'm gonna take Ovia Gofu, good value this late in the draft. Probably our top edge rusher this year, outside of Demarvion Overshown. Thank you, Robert. He said 6 is doable. I believe the same for Ovia Gofu. I'm going to ask you really quick. Am I tripping by saying 6? Is that too much? Is that right on the money? What do you think?
I think too 6 low? Is a little high. I think it's a little
6
high.
6 is a little high? Okay.
I got him this year, 40 tackles. I got him 6 tackles for loss. I got him 3 sacks. So those are my numbers for him.
But based on what you've said about Byron Murphy and Demarvion Overshown, look, if everybody can get into that 2 to 7 range, I will improve on 20, obviously, and be a lot better. So whether he gets 6 or not, if he's formidable, I think that's all we need. I love Ethan Burke. You may hear his name in a minute. Yeah, you may hear his name in a minute, Billy. Stay tuned. I'm glad to have you with us. All right, man. What we were trying to see that was 14, 15. So that was 16, 17. All right, we come 3 picks left. Only three players left in the whole draft, man.
All right, I got
players left in the whole draft. Who was your pick? So I took Deshawn Jameson. Who you took? Rojo, right? Yeah, Roshan Johnson.
Yeah, I had Rojo.
Roshan Johnson. Okay, I gotta update the ticker so they know who winning. Me, but go ahead. Who you got at number 18, brother?
I got Anthony Cook.
Love it. Damn, man. That's why I brought you on, man. You challenging me, bro.
I got Anthony Cook, man. I think Anthony Cook, with the versatility that he's had, playing cornerback, playing nickel, and now playing safety, I think safety is probably going to be his best position here at Texas, right? So him, I got him next year. I got him 55 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 3 picks this year, and about 4 passes defended this year. But I think him being able to see the whole field is going to be really helpful for him. We got Ryan Watts, right? So having Ryan Watts to kind of take over that position, having Jameson also on the side, having Barron there in the nickel, and now you have a guy who knows all those positions, like none other because he's played all of them. I think that's going to be very valuable for Texas in the back end there. So I got Anthony Cook. He's the boundary safety, and yeah, he's my guy.
Okay, I had messed up the count, so
yeah, I think we got
the count right now. This was 15 and 16 was Ovia Gofu. So you just made 17 because I was like,
I just made 17.
I got 2 more picks. Yeah, so you just made 17, and that was
Anthony Cook.
Really good pick. All right, let me look at my list, man. Let me tap back into this list, man. This is tough, man. I could go defense right here. I got some.
Just don't pick my dude. Just don't pick my next one.
Now I want to pick him. Like I'm trying to see, like, okay, who he might have, man. Let me know in the comments who I should pick. If y'all can get.
Ain't no cheating.
Mathis did nothing for Nebraska. Mathis. Hey, man, Mathis in the portal on Monday. Like I said, he was out there running like Draymond Green, man. Looking running like he had a backpack on. You know what I'm saying? I wish him the best, but let's call a spade, man. Out there running like Draymond Green.
That's funny as hell.
Where were you? 32, 500 yards of offense, Northwestern. Come on now.
That's a great NIL deal, I guess.
Hey, talk about bang for your buck or lack thereof, right? Sark loves shot plays.
Yeah,
he loves shot plays, man. And so if you got a player that can run that has 10-2 speed.
Okay.
And with Sark, I mean, there's only one player with 10-2 speed. So I mean, if you can, I'm going off the menu, man. This is not how I have my list written down, but if Sark likes to score fast, he likes to draw up shot plays, and he's one of the best deep shot drawer uppers there is in college football.
He is.
And you have Xavier Worthy. You're gonna have to worry about his deep speed. But I was having a conversation the other day. And what makes Sark special is one, he's had the talent to do this. But you're going to worry about 8, right? You're going to worry about Xavier Worthy. You're going to worry about 4 with Jordan Whittington. You're going to worry about 5, obviously, with Bijan Robinson. That creates so many opportunities for all of the other players because you can only really key on 1 or 2 dudes, but everybody can beat you. And Sark is the type of guy that could take somebody like Brennan Thompson, who is my next pick, and he could give you 4 to 5 touchdowns this year just on being faster than everybody on the field. And Sark wants to score fast. And Brennan Thompson is literally a walking touchdown. So I think he comes in, and we know with Sark's track record, he's going to utilize true freshman receivers and give them every opportunity to get a lot of touches. And so I think Brennan Thompson comes right in. Shout out his mama too. You know what I'm saying? One of my favorite Twitter followers. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
She gonna get on you. You better not say nothing about Brennan. You better not.
I know.
You better not say. You better not even say nothing about the team. Look. You get on Twitter and say Texas going 7-5. Bonnie gonna fire you. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all,
Mama Thompson.
Y'all better love Bonnie Thompson. I love some Bonnie Thompson.
Look. Inside Texas said, this is not the year 2023. The year she came right out and said, nope. Glass half full, right? So I'm going Brennan Thompson this year. The key for me, I'm going to say 17 plus yards per reception. I'm going to say 17 plus yards per reception. I think he's not going to get a lot of touches, but when he does, fireworks. Give me Brennan Thompson. I went a little bit off the menu. Probably some players that are going to have more snaps, more of a role. But, man, I just think what Sark can do with a player like Brennan Thompson, give me that. And I think he's going to score more than 3 times this year. So that's going to be my stat for him. 17 yards per per reception, and scoring 3+ touchdowns this year. I think he's going to have a big role and really can open up things, because if you worry about Xavier Worthy, you can't worry about their speed at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So give me Brennan Thompson. I'll give me Brennan Thompson with pick number 18. Nino, this is now your last pick of the draft.
My last pick?
Number 19. You got to make it count, brother.
Gotta make it count, man. Look here, man. I'm gonna, just talk about Brennan Thompson for a minute. Yeah. Sark's gonna scheme that guy open. And you say 3 touchdowns this year. I think he might have 3 touchdowns in the first 3 games. I think he might have a couple of touchdowns against, basically here. I think in the first game, I think Texas is going to blow that game out, and I think he's going to get a lot of time. I think in the second half, and I think he's going to get some run against UTSA. And I think he has the opportunity to get 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first 3 games. And then once Sark puts on film in that first game that he is going to be able to blow by you, he's going to put him in just to be a decoy sometimes. And that's going to make the safeties go back. That's going to make the cornerback go back as well. And he's going to use him as a decoy, and that's going to be nothing but straight running room for Bijan. It's going to happen. Yeah. He's a great chess piece too. And he's so young too. That's the thing. It's like, he might not have all the routes done, in like the whole route tree figured out yet, but he is going to be somebody that when he steps on that field, you're going to back up. You're going to have to back up, right? So, great pick, man. Great pick. Yeah,
for sure. Man. All right, 19th pick, man. Last pick. And then, I said we was going to stop at 8, but we still got 50 people rocking with us, man. We got the Q&A, man. We're going to keep drafting. We still going to do the Q&A for y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? I guess House of Dragons can wait, right? Game of Thrones can wait. So, man, I'm rocking. I'm having too much fun, man. Let's keep doing it, man. Let's who you got 19, and you're right. We'll do a bonus pick. We'll do 11. We'll
19 pick for me. I think this is a great bang for the buck pick here. I got Hayden Connor.
Ooh.
I got Hayden Connor.
I like that. I like that.
Because we got 3 guys that are starting right now. That are veterans, right? On the line, you got Hayden, you got Major, and you got Jones, right? Basically every report out is that Cam Williams is pushing Christian Jones for that starting right tackle position, right? So that's up in the air. Jake's going to start. He has to start because he's the only center we have in the team, basically, right? Hayden Connor is the only guy that's made it through the whole offseason. Nobody's been pushing for his job. Like, he's been solidified. Like, he's going to play. Like, he's going to play, right? And so I think he's going to be, like a force to, basically just a reckon with here on the line, because he's playing left guard this year, right? And so, I like Hayden Connor. I think he's tough as nails too, man. I think he's a great pick for my last pick, man.
I love that. Well, you get a bonus pick. You know what I'm saying? You get a bonus pick, but I love that pick right there. Hayden Connor. Definitely. They talked about, somebody that just wants to win every rep, right? And that's what you need on this offensive line. Love that Hayden Connor pick. And I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all still got 50 rocking with me. It just went down to 49 when I said that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? A good amount rocking with me. I appreciate y'all. My first live for sure. I hope it's been I hope it's been everything and more. All right. So my second to last pick. This would have been my last pick. I got to get all my friends of the show in here, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little biased. You know what I'm saying? Friends of the show. Shout out Dr. Finkley. You know what I'm saying? Both of them. You know what I mean? And shout out Justice Finkley. We talk about this offensive line class that they brought in so much, the 7 offensive linemen. I don't think we talk about enough how they brought in 8 defensive linemen, right? Like, they invested more on the defensive line than they did the offensive line, but the offensive line gets all the press. And when you look at it, Justice Finkley and Jere Bledsoe both enrolled early, but Jere Bledsoe dealt with appendicitis, so he really didn't get a spring. It was really only Justice Finkley, and we keep hearing about his motor. But we talk about the advantage that Cole Hudson got, right, enrolling early. I think Justice Finkley got that same advantage, and he's going to get a lot of playing time this year at a desperate position for the Longhorns. This is a team that only had 20 sacks last year. and the defensive line just wasn't great, right? They had running the holes were the size of I-35, where running backs were running through them, and then the pass rush, couldn't get to me back there, right? So, I think Justice Finkley is going to be, a big part in improving that pass rush. And like I said, it's going to be a pass rush by committee. But Justice Finkley, a really talented player, I think top 120 in the nation. He's going to be a big part of that pass rush improvement this year. And he's a friend of the show. We interviewed him on Locked On Longhorns, so I'd be remiss not to bring him on here. So my 20th pick, great value, I think, Justice Finkley. This team is going to rely on a lot of true freshmen this year. I think Sark said 57 out of 85 are freshmen or sophomores, and I think Justice Finkley is going to be one of those that has a huge impact. So the draft would be over right now. It's 20 picks, but, Nino chilling, Nino having a good time, Jonzo chilling, Jonzo having a good time. So we're going to do one more bonus pick, and then we're going to get into this live Q&A. So with your 21st pick, who you got, Nino?
I got Jaren Thompson.
Jaren Thompson, that's great. I think somebody was talking about in the chat.
Yeah, I got Jaren Thompson, man.
This said it was a great pick right here. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Jaren Thompson.
Yeah, man. Every coach is basically saying he's the smartest guy in the secondary. With him being like the field safety, man, he's going to be great out there, man. Smart player. Even his freshman year, I think he had 2 picks his freshman year. One against Kansas, I think one against Kansas State. But he's always finding the ball. I think the only thing with him was actually, just against the run. But it seems like he's getting a lot better at that. I think Jaren Thompson being like the smartest guy in the secondary, being the guy that's going to get everybody lined up. I think it's going to be a great player this year as well. I got him 50 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 picks, and 3 passes defended. But his true wealth is going to be being the guy calling out all the coverage in the back, man, because he does have that high football IQ.
I love that pick for sure. So y'all go ahead and start putting y'all questions in the chat. We're going to get to the live Q&A after this for at least 30 minutes for sure. So go ahead and start putting y'all questions in the chat. We'll get to that after I make this next pick. I really like that pick. So I'm going to go a little different, man. I'm going to go a little different. I've been going off the menu. I'm going to go off the menu again. This is as boom or bust as it gets because he's not even on the team right now. So this is as boom or bust as it gets. When we looked at this team this year, and, we talked about this off the record, Nino, as well. We talked about, because when we recorded, Isaiah Nayor had got hurt, but we didn't know. That's another reason I didn't put out. We didn't know how severe his injury was. So we was on the show talking about when he comes back. Yeah. It's like, oh, he's out for the season. I'm like, man, I can't put this out. But anyways, we talk about who are the candidates to replace Isaiah Nayor, excuse me. And when we looked at it, it was Casey Kane, Troy O'Meary, and Ajay Hall, right? Casey Kane, career, 0 catches for 0 yards. All right, Troy O'Meary coming off 2 major injuries, career 0 catches for 0 yards. But you have Ajay Hall with 4 catches for 72 yards in his career. So that the 3 total receivers that you're looking to replace Isaiah Nayor with, who had 878 yards and 12 touchdowns last year, in the offense that only threw the ball 35% of the time. I love saying that because just an insane stat. That's right?
A crazy stat, yeah.
And averaged almost 20. I think it was like 40 yards, 20 yards away from averaging 20 yards of reception. Basically did. We talked about those 3 candidates being able to replace them in Casey Kane, Troy O'Meary, and Ajay Hall. So I'm going to ask you real quick, Nino. Who do you think has the most upside out of those 3 players? Ajay Hall, Troy O'Meary.
On. That's easy. That's easy. That's Ajay Hall.
Okay, there we go.
The most upside,
I'm going with Ajay Hall because I believe, and like I said, this is a huge boomer bust because he's literally suspended from the team right now. But I just think that, if he's able to come back, Sark said he's doing all of the right things. And, he's excited about, what he can do. If he can come back, I think he gives you the closest to resemblance. I don't think any of them are as good as Isaiah Nayor right now, but I think he gives you the best chance of that offense you envisioned with Isaiah Nayor across from Xavier Worthy with the Ajay Hall. I think he's just, a freaky, talented player. But I think he can go both ways, honestly. I think he's the most important player because I think he can come in and provide a dynamic to this Texas offense that when Isaiah Nayor went down, you weren't expecting to have, right? But if he comes in and we see more of what we saw at Alabama and we hear more, about some problems and some issues, this is a team that's trying to reverse its culture. This is a team that's trying to get rid of the bad apples and bring in good ones. This is a team that can't afford distractions in Sark's second year. They can't afford trouble, and they can't afford players that aren't willing to be we players over me players, right? And if a Jai Hall comes back and gets into more trouble this year, that could affect the locker room, that could affect the team, that could affect their morale, that could affect the season. So the reason I'm going to Jai Hall with my last pick is because it's extremely boom or bust. He could come in and change the dynamic of this offense in a good way, or I think he could wreck the locker room in a bad way if he gets to causing problems and they have to, deal with things off the football field in terms of keeping a player like a Jai Hall in check. So I think he's the 22nd most important player on the football team this year, because I think that he could either explode in a good way and Texas could add a dynamic that they didn't think they had, because I think, I agree with you. He has more potential than Troy O'Meary and Casey Kane. But I think also if he comes in and, we see what we saw at Alabama and he causes problems in the locker room, I think that definitely could affect not just him, but affect the whole Texas team, right? If you have a bad apple in that locker room. So that's why I'm putting him up there as an important player, because I think that he could either make or break this Texas football team this year, or he could just be a piece. But I think at his best, he could make this Texas football team, and at his worst, he could break this Texas football team. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm with you on that. He has the talent, man. You see the talent in him. I mean, he oozes the talent. Big, tall, lanky kid with a huge arm radius. It's almost like just throw the ball up. He's going to go get it. The only thing shaky about him, he has questionable hands sometimes. We saw last year, just against Georgia, which, of course, it was his first game starting. Well, yeah, not starting, but his first game getting some kind of real, actual PT last year. And that's the national championship game. And of course, you're a young kid, 18 years old. Nerves are probably going through your body, man. So, yeah, he had a couple drops, but he had a couple great catches too. So, I think the thing with him is probably getting his confidence right here. And just getting into the system, feeling part of the team. And hopefully once he comes back from, from this suspension, he kind of realizes, what's in front of him. Like, this might honestly be his last stop, because he's already transferred one time. And so if he transfers again, he has to sit out a year. And I don't want to see this kid be the next Brew McCoy, right? Where he's been at 4 different teams, or, in 4 years. And, he's trying to play basically for the first time since 2017, 2018. All right. So, he has that talent. He's a 5-star kid, a 5-star talent. He just has to get the, just shore up his attitude, man, and just come to the team prepared. So, I love the player though. I love him as a player. Yeah.
So I appreciate y'all. That was the draft, man. Let me know. I guess I got to recap it for y'all. If I can, let us know who won the draft. I think we both won the draft, man. These are all going to be – every player that goes out there for Texas is going to be important this year. Nino had Xavier Worthy, Jake Majors, Jade Barron, Demarvion Overshown, Byron Murphy, Jordan Whittington, Jaylen Ford, Roshan Johnson, Anthony Cook. You had Jaron Thompson. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Let me look.
Hayden Connor.
My banners. And Hayden Connor. Great picks. I had Bijan Robinson, Quinn Ewers, Kelvin Banks, Diamante Tucker-Dorsey, JT Sanders, Cole Hudson, Deshawn Jameson, Obi Agofu, Brennan Thompson, Justice Finkley, and Ajay Hall. So let us know in the chat who won the draft. I think we both did good. And I want to say shout out to y'all, man. I thought we was gonna have to get out of here by 8, but we still going strong, man, with the same number that we started with, 1 hour and 7 minutes in. So we're going to keep rolling, man. So our first question is from Robert Muhammad. He said, can we increase our third down efficiency on offense to over 47% and our defensive third down efficiency under 40%? Last year, I think it was 45% and 42%. Thank you for those metrics, because I wouldn't have known those off the top of my head. I'm just going to say yes, right? I think that this offense has improved talent-wise on every position, right? And even if you don't say running back, you still have the best running back in the country. But every other position on offense, I think it improved. And although we were the 17th scoring offense, we were like 108th in time of possession. So this is a team that only averaged 28 minutes and 5 seconds of time of possession, which means their opponents on average had the ball for 31 minutes and 55 seconds per game. That's why you went 5-7, right? That's not a winning formula. I don't care how many deep shots Sark draws up. So I think that they're going to be a lot better. I think that they're going to still be an explosive offense, but I said it needs to be explosive and efficient, because what good is the 17th ranked scoring offense when you need a bucket, when you need a touchdown, when you need a field goal, you can't get it. And too often in the second half last year, like we saw, with Nebraska yesterday, they bogged down, you know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, when you need one, can they go get one? And that wasn't the case last year. I think this is going to be a more fluid offense, an offense that can score in all 4 quarters, even when they go off script. And so I think they'll be better offensively as far as efficiency. And then defense, like I said, I think the key, more than the talent that you brought in, is just consistency and continuity. The second year in the system, that speaks wonders. We talked all, summer about Quinn Ewers being a first-year player, right? And it's just about poise and confidence and playing fast and knowing what you're doing. I don't think the players knew what they were doing last year. And by the time they really picked it up, they played slow and weren't able to play fast. I think the defense is going to play a lot faster this year. So shout out to the efficiency numbers. Robert,
yeah, that's great
for giving us those. I'm just going to say yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Man.
You want to add anything?
Yeah, man. So I think that we'll definitely get over that 47 percentile for the offense side of the ball, just for the simple fact that I think we have tight ends that can stretch the field this year. And we got tight ends that can just move the chains this year as well. I think last year, if we needed 8 yards, I think from the tight ends, we got 7, right? I mean, it was always like that. It was like, hey, I need 5 yards and we got 4, right? Or I need 3 and we get 2, right? So I think this year with a guy like JT Sanders, with a guy like Billingsley coming in as well, just having those weapons coming in from, just from that tight end position, matching up on the linebacker, matching up on the safety. I think we got some great advantages there. And I think for the offensive side of the ball, of course, 47% is definitely there for us. Now, for the defensive side of the ball, just like Jay Davis said, man, look, continuity. I think we got the guys on the team that can make the plays. It's just about getting that continuity. Like we said about Jameson. Jameson's a prime example. This is the first time in his whole career here at Texas that he's going to have his position coach for 2 years in a row. He's a 5th-year guy, folks, and he's played all 5 years. Just repeat that again. In 5 years, this is the first time in 5 years he has had his position coach for 2 years. He's had a different position coach.
Stat and analysis by Nino.
He's had a different position coach every year he's been at Texas besides this year. So I think this is the opportunity for guys like him to shine and step up.
That's why I drafted Deshawn Jameson, man, because of what you just said, right? I didn't. Thank you for that. But no, I agree. So Horn 7 said, quick hitter right here. How many touchdowns for the Horns first game?
Ooh, I didn't even do an analysis on that yet. Let me think.
Ooh, yeah, I hadn't even got into that yet. I'm gonna give him 7. I'm gonna say 49.
I was saying the same thing. I'm gonna say
give him 49 points.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 7 touchdowns. I'm gonna say 3 field goals in the game. And so it's at 9 plus 49 is what, 58 points? Yeah. Okay. And probably more against that team. I think they got the opportunity to get more, but yeah,
you're from Louisiana. Give us the scouting report of Louisiana Monroe.
Man, look, I don't know too much about Louisiana Monroe now. I am from Shreveport, just down the street, but I don't follow ULM.
Yeah, man. Hey, none of us do, right? Yeah. So, hey, man, hit that chat with some more questions, man. We going to 8:30, man. Go hit that chat with some more questions. So, yeah, I think we both said 7. I give them 49 plus points against Louisiana Monroe. Real quick, I'm gonna ask you. I'm going off the menu again. I think the spreads I've seen are about 38. Does Texas cover? Does Louisiana Monroe cover?
I don't think Texas covers that. I don't think we.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah. I don't think so.
If they could beat Louisiana Monroe by 38. It's not crazy, but I just don't see them in their first game with a new quarterback beating somebody by 38. But
no. And also, I think Texas might jump up and get to like that 35, 38 point range. But then I think Sark's going to start giving guys like Brennan Thompson shots. I think he's going to give them some opportunities to get in there, and make some plays, right? Or maybe get a guy like DJ Campbell in to make some, plays. Neto, Cam, so just getting guys like that on the line just to get their feet wet.
Okay, good. I like this one. I'm gonna let you go first. Do you think Sark will be better at making adjustments this season? He was lost last season.
That's a good question, Sean Harris. I think he will be. And honestly, he didn't make the adjustments last year, and I don't know if it's him not making the adjustments. I thought the plays were drawn up pretty well. I just don't think we had the personnel to execute the plays last year. There were too many times, in the second half where, look, Kieran put out a video that showed every play that Xavier Worthy got missed on deep balls. And some of those were, no kidding, the first drive of the second half, second drive of the second half, and our quarterbacks could not get him the ball deep. Or he would get past guys, he's 3 or 4 yards deep, and they just couldn't get him, either underthrow him or overthrow him. I don't think we're going to have that problem this year. So I don't know if it's Sark's adjustments. I think he probably could have been better, at that. But I also got to put some of that on the players as well for executing, because I do think he had a good game plan coming out in the second half. I just don't think the personnel we had could actually go forward and make that happen as well. So just answer, the question, Sean. Yes, we should be better this year, for the second half adjustments, just because we have more talent now, and also the talent at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm gonna just be really quick. I think too often in the second halves last year, and you could put some blame on Sark as well. I think, like you said eloquently, you have to put it on the players as well. Too often last year, Sark had to call plays with one arm behind his back. What do I mean by that? Last year in the second half of games, teams took Bijan Robinson out of the game. When you're playing from behind and you're down, you got to go get 7 points. You got to throw the ball. Teams made Casey Thompson and Hudson Card beat us, which they could not do last year. We went 5-7. Bijan Robinson needs to be a factor in every quarter, in every game, all game. You need to be able to run the ball with Bijan Robinson all game. You can't do that when you're down 7, need to score a touchdown to win the game, down 14, blowing leads, all of that. So I think that Sarkin's going to be better at making adjustments. I think he's going to be better at play calling, and I think he's going to be better at having a balanced offense that'll be able to stay balanced throughout the entirety of the game. But like I said, too often in the second half last year, they weren't able to use Bijan Robinson as a runner, and that's the bread and butter of this football team. And so I think if they can get early leads, stay on teams, and stay competitive with teams throughout the game, then you have Bijan Robinson as a weapon the whole game. And I think that's something they really missed, at least something I noticed when I was rewatching the games, is like you couldn't give Bijan Robinson the ball because he was down 7 and had to throw. And Bijan Robinson is the bread and butter of this football team, especially last year. So let's get into this next question. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So also, I think this team trust his coaching staff more this year too. I don't, last year you had guys that weren't bought in. Even after the freaking Baylor game, Sark gets on the podium and says, "I told the guys, hey, defense, something big and something tricky is going to happen here. Be on the lookout." And it's like the defensive backs didn't trust him. They didn't want to listen, or they didn't think he knew what he was talking about. And what happened? It was a trick play, bomb deep, and so I think these guys trust now. I think they understand that, hey, he never threw any player under the bus last year. He never threw his coaching staff under the bus last year either. So that kind of builds those bonds also. He wasn't like Scott Frost last night when Scott Frost threw his whole offensive staff under the bus last night, right? No, so Steve Sarkisian took it on the chin. He was just like, yo, this is my team. It all stops me. The buck stops here. I need to be better. But anybody who's watched the football games knows it's just not on him too. It's, the defensive staff needs to be better. The players need to be better as well. But I think everybody, I'm hoping they all trust each other a bit more this year. So when the coach says, hey, man, look, there's going to be a trick play now. Like, pay attention. Back up a little bit. It's going to be a trick play. Hey, I don't care. Give up the 10 yards. Don't give up the 50. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it should be better.
I like that answer for sure. So Larry Trevino says, if our defense doesn't look improved at all in the first 3 games, does Patterson take over? This is a spicy question, but I'm just going to answer it no. I don't think that Gary Patterson takes over this year at all, but especially not in the 3 games, because I think your record in the first 3 games is going to be the same regardless. I think you're going 2-1 in the first 3 games, regardless of who's at quarterback, regardless of who's calling the defense. You're going 2-1 in those first 3 games. And if you looked at the schedule, you know what that 1 is, right? I ain't going to give them no press right now on the show, but y'all know what the 1 loss is. You know what I'm saying? Who the 1 loss is too. So I don't think that I think that Sark is big on trust. He's big on relationships, and I think he's big on allowing people to do the job that he brought them in to do, and I just can't see Sark panicking and making a mid-year coaching change. Now, at the end of the year, if we're in triple digits in defense, then we can have the conversation about Gary Patterson. But especially after 3 games, when I think your record would be 2-1 regardless. I mean, you're talking about a winning record. Like, there's no reason to panic going into the Texas Tech game and replacing the coordinator and then having a defense that's shaky going into conference play. So I think that Pete Kakowski is your defensive coordinator for the entirety of the year. I think the defense is going to be improved. So it would depend on what your metric is, Larry, as far as looking improved in the first 3 games, but especially not that early, because like I said, I think you're going 2-1 in those 3 games regardless. What do you think, Nino?
Man, same here. He's not gonna fire the guy. It's not gonna happen. If it does happen, like you say, the defense has to be the exact same or worse than last year, or just marginal, like better. And I don't see that happening. I think this defense will be better this year. I just think that this is a team, folks, that didn't know how to win. And, like our best players were our young players last year. Xavier Worthy was young. Bijan's been here. He's been on winning teams, but Bijan was he was never like the guy until last year, right? So honestly, he wasn't the guy until last year. He was on the team his first 2 years, and he was our best running back, but we always split carries. It was him and Rojo, and he was never just the guy. Last year was his first time being the guy. Xavier Worthy was his first time on campus. He was the guy. And so we get leads and we lose leads because I don't think our guys knew exactly how to win yet. And so it's just instilling that in them. They had to get some confidence in them. They got to be built up, right? So they got broke down last year. This year it's all about building them up to make sure that this team's a winning team this year.
Yeah, good answer. So I really like this question from Clumsy Chemist. Does Nair go into the draft or come back next year? This is a really tough question, right? Yeah. Because, I think he was hoping he could have a great year at UT, step up from, the Wyoming competition and then go to the league. Oof, I don't like the waffle. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that I don't know if he goes into the draft, but I'm going to say he's not going to be a Texas football player next year. I just think when you look at it, you're going to have Xavier Worthy coming back next year. I think you're going to probably likely have, unless they decide to transfer, hopefully a Jai Hall coming back next year, a Casey Kane, maybe even a Troy O'Meary. And then look at this 2023 class. You got Jonte Cook coming in, Ryan Niblett coming in, Jonah Wilson coming in, likely Jaylen. I mean, I don't want to say likely, because I said likely O'Shawn Mathis, maybe Jalen Hill coming in, right? I just think there's going to be too much competition at the wide receiver position. You'll have JT Sanders coming back as well. And then some new tight ends. I just think there's going to be so many wide receivers on this team that he won't have the defined role next year that he would have had this year. And I think it just makes more sense to either try to go somewhere where he can be that alpha, or, it depends on what, scouts and his agent are telling him. Maybe if he can still get in there in that 5th or 6th round, maybe he takes that leap to the NFL. But I just don't see him coming back to Texas, because I think there's going to be so much competition at the wide receiver room next year that it's going to be so much competition for targets and playing time and all of that I don't think his role will be as defined. And he's going to be coming off an ACL. Like, let's just not act like that's just guaranteed that he's going to come back and be Isaiah Nayor. So I don't think his role will be as defined next year as it was this year, with so much talent coming back at the wide receiver room and then the talent you brought in this class. So because I don't want to waffle, I'm going to say no. Isaiah Nayor is not in a Texas jersey next year. I'm not sure if that'll be at another college or in the NFL, but I don't think he comes back to Texas.
That's a good one. I'm going to say he is going to be here next year. And I only say that now because
wishful thinking. I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if he's going, next year to the draft. I just don't know if there's enough film on him. Then, plus coming off via ACL, so that would mean he hasn't played ball in, basically like a full year, right? If he doesn't play at Texas and he goes somewhere else, he needs to transfer now so that he can sit out a full year, right? And then he can play and be ready for next year to play, right? Because he won't have that opportunity because he's already transferred to Texas, right? So, so if he did transfer, he would have to sit out a full year. So if he's going to transfer, it's time to transfer now, right? And so since he hasn't done that yet, I think the cards are stacked against him. To actually go to the league. So I would say that he's probably going to stay.
That's a good answer. I think by that time, I think that there was some smoke about them getting rid of the one-time transfer rule and just making it where you're able to transfer once a year in 2 different windows. I honestly think by the time next college football season comes around, that rule, I think college football is just, the NCAA is just like the hell with it. Like, they're washing their hands with everything. They don't care no more. So I honestly think by next year, we're going to have where you can transfer once a year with no penalty. So, but, if we don't have that rule, then that obviously incentivizes, Isaiah Nayor to stay more. But like I said, I think college football is going to be a free-for-all by next year. And I think he'll be able to transfer somewhere and play immediately. So we'll see. I hope he stays at Texas, man. He's a hell of a player. And I was really excited to see him
I was excited
this year. So Larry Trevino says, does Sark keep it vanilla on offense against ULM, or does he put a lot of it out there to give Bama more to work on? I think obviously he doesn't go with the full playbook. I mean, I don't even think the full playbook, he shows against Bama. And like Nino talked about earlier, it's going to be a work in progress each week, right? I think Sark has to see what works for Quinn Ewers, what works for this offense, and then gauge that week to week. So I don't even think the playbook will fully open up until conference play. But I'm not a big fan of keeping things away from Alabama. Like I just think you need to go out there and treat every game the same way. Like I know it's Louisiana Monroe, but I'm not a fan of Texas going out there and saying, well, we can beat Louisiana Monroe anyway. Let's just go halfback dive, halfback counter, halfback power. Like, nah, like go out there and give them the bells and whistles too. Like I think that it's all reps for, these young players. Like I said, 57 out of 85 players are freshmen or sophomores. Like I think you go out there and, like I said, you don't empty the tank, but you wouldn't empty the tank against Alabama either. Like I think the playbook is going to be a work in progress, seeing what Quinn Ewers is comfortable with, what this offense is comfortable with, and what you can execute. But now I'm not a fan of keeping it vanilla. Like this ain't a scrimmage, man. Like I mean, it might like this is game one. Like you go out there and you take. I don't care if it's a triple reverse halfback pass. You know what I'm saying? Do it all. Like you need to go out there and beat Louisiana Monroe convincingly. So yeah, I don't think it's I don't think you should keep it vanilla at all. Like I said, I mean obviously Sark is gonna leave a couple things in his back pocket for Alabama, of course, but I'm not a fan of going out there and being vanilla. I think you go out there and step on their throat from the first snap.
Yeah, so same here, man. I think you do exactly what LSU did 2 years ago when they won the championship. They came out that first game and put it 70 points or something. I mean, they went ham. Like they could have put up 100 points that first game. So look, you go full throttle every game, no matter who the opponent is. Just give it to them. Give it to them. I want you to put so much on film. I want Nick Saban to be thinking, who the hell is Brennan Thompson? You never seen this damn kid. Look, I know who Xavier Worthy is. I know who Witt is. I know who Sanders is. Who the hell is Brennan Thompson? Who the hell is Casey Kane? Like, I want him to be thinking. Like, I want him to see Cam Williams and Christian Jones swap out, so he doesn't know who the hell is going to start next week. Who's this big 374-pound kid? Look, I want him to have so many different views that he don't know what to think. He just knows that Texas is going to come and try to put as many points as they can, and it's going to be wide open. So, you don't hide a damn thing.
Yeah. So Max Snell in the chat has said that Isaiah Nayor has already said that he's coming back. I haven't seen that, but Mac is a longtime subscriber. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Good dude. He's always on the video. So I know he loves Texas football more than anybody. So he said that Isaiah Nayor has said that. I haven't seen that, but I'm going to take his word for it. So real quick, what we haven't talked about is the kicking situation. I've been thinking about this a lot, man, because I got this team winning 9 games, but it's the first time in 4 years we've had to worry about a kicker, right? And it's kind of got me wanting to go back down to 8-4. I'm gonna stick with 9-3 because I've been bullish, but special teams, every year you're gonna win or lose at least one game on special teams. We might have saw it yesterday with Nebraska with the onside kick. That wasn't the reason. I don't think it's the only reason they lost, but you can point to it for sure. It's one of the reasons. So, I'm not going to mention anybody specifically because the kicker hasn't been named. So even though the question mentions somebody specifically, but I'm just going to say, I'm going to ask you, Nino, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in the kicking situation going into 2022?
4 or 5.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
the same. 4 especially or 5. And not to mention, not only do we not know who the kicker is going to be, the reports haven't been great. Like they haven't been great.
And so this is where I think we're going to miss Dicker, the kicker, so bad. Facts. And honestly, I wonder if Dicker is thinking to himself he should have came back for a year. Because he was with the Rams, right? And he didn't make the roster with the Rams. Now he's with the Ravens, right? So
and I can't see him making the 53 with Justin Tucker. You're just not going to carry 2 kickers. I mean, unless he's going to punt. Yeah, I mean, Justin Tucker's he's the most accurate. Okay, I was about to say he's the most accurate kicker of all time. Like, so unless he's punting.
But I think Dicker with an extra year, I think he could have possibly been drafted next year, maybe in the 6th or 7th round. But yeah, man, I mean, this would have been the prime opportunity for Dicker to have stayed, and Texas is going to miss Dicker. I don't think people realize how much we're going to miss Dicker, the kicker, man. It's going to suck. And so we just need whoever is going to kick the field goals on this team, we just need you to make everything from 40 yards in. I just need you to make that. If you can make 40 yards in, hey, we're good. If you can't make the 45er, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I need you to make 40 yards in. That's it. I need you to be money from there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not asking you to be the guy who's going to win all the awards at the end of the year. I just need you to make the necessary kicks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, man. Yeah. I'm at a 4 or 5, man. I'm gonna say a 4. Actually, I'm at a 4.
Same. It's not more than 5, right? So it's not great. Shout out to y'all, man. Still going strong. An hour and a half in. We at 70, the highest we've been, man. So really appreciate y'all rocking with me and Nino, man. I haven't said this. I should have. Go ahead,
folks. If you're in here, a like means that's your attendance here, man. So hit the like button. Give this thing some likes, man. It's 70 people in here. I think it's only 35 likes. Go hit that like button, folks. Hit that like button.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all. We up to 72 now. And make sure y'all subscribing to Nino's Corner Sports, man. I should have been said that from the jump. That's my fault. Make sure y'all subscribing to Nino's Corner Sports, man. One of the best in the business. If y'all haven't subscribed yet, why not, man? So clumsy chemist, excuse me, I'm clumsy. Says, does Hall come back for the Bama game or Texas Tech? I think I speak for me and Nino when I say we don't know. We don't know. I don't think we don't know what's going on. I think only Sark and Ajay Hall knows that. I think we could just hope that he gets his stuff together. Not only is this a young man who needs to figure it out in life outside of football. This is a young, very talented football player whose best years are ahead of him if he can figure it out. And he's also a father, right? And so I think that right now, I know this isn't popular. We're all Texas fans, but I think we just need to focus on Ajay Hall, the person, more than the football player. Yeah. And just, these are all, I think sometimes, and I'm not saying anybody in the chat is doing this or we're doing this, but I think sometimes, we just focus too much on the name on the front of the jersey instead of the name on the back. These are human beings, man. These are, kids trying to figure out their life and trying to get their stuff together. And like I said, he's a father, you know what I'm saying? Trying to really mentor and really, develop a youth as well, while he's also young. So I think what's more important than him getting back on the field is him being in a position to be back on the field and getting everything fixed. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, man. So you guys know I went to Texas, man. I was there from 01 to 05. And when I was there, we had a guy named Eric Hardeman who was, you talk to anybody who played at Texas during that time. They've said that he's probably one of the more gifted running backs that they've ever seen with their own 2 eyes. I had Tim Crowder on my show, and if anybody knows who Tim Crowder is, Tim Crowder played at Texas from 02 to 06, ended up getting drafted 2nd round, played for the Bucks and the Broncos, and he said even with the guys he's played with in the NFL and the guys he's played with at Texas, and he played with Cedric Benson, he played with Jamal Charles, he played with the Selvin Youngs. He said Eric Hardeman was the most talented running back he has ever played with, including the NFL, right? Eric Hardeman was a guy who got in trouble, quite a bit. He got caught with some drugs, one time, and he got kicked off the team. And then he had a life that kind of spiraled down, man. And so now he's in jail now doing 30 years, right? And so that's a guy who had that talent. He was a 10-6 100-meter yard runner at running back. He was 6'2", 215, 220 pounds. He was a monster. I've heard different coaches at that time say that he was basically the next Ricky Williams here on campus. I mean, he was that kind of talent. Look, guys, I would go to their practices because I was the RA for all the football players. He was my resident. And so I would go to their practices with the players, right? Because at that time, all the practices were kind of open. You can go look at the practices, and the people in the stands. This is when Cedric Benson, rest in peace, was playing. They were like, "Put in E-Man." That was his nickname. So that was Eric's nickname. Put in E-Man. People would scream that. That's the kind of talent that this kid had. I don't want to see Ajay Hall be Eric Hardeman. We need to see Ajay Hall be the best version of himself and not Eric Hardeman, right? And that's not saying anything bad about Eric because he was a great kid, a great guy, but one wrong turn can put you in a situation to where you're doing 30 years in prison, right? So I don't want to see him like that. I want to see him be the best person he can.
Yeah, no, that's a great story from Nino there. I really appreciate you saying that. To our listeners, and I appreciate you saying that on Locked On Longhorns for real, because I think that's important. Like you said, you can have all the talent in the world, and we all know cases like that, right? And that's why I said I think we need to focus on Ajay Hall, the person, more than the player, because I think what's more important than what he can do for Texas on the field is making sure that he leads a productive life. And like I said, he has a child. He's a young man trying to figure out how to be a father, and while he's still growing up. So, like I said, when Jalen Gilbo, had his trouble with the team and any other player, it's just more important making sure these young men are in a position to succeed than what they do on the field for Texas. So exactly. Great answer, Nino. I really appreciate that perspective. So we're going to go to Brad real quick. We probably already talked about him. We probably drafted him, if you've been here since 7. But who's your breakout freshman on both sides of the ball? I'll go really quickly. I drafted both of them, so I'm going to say Brennan Thompson and Justice Finkley. I just think that Justice Finkley, he's really came in, and if anybody's taking advantage of strength and conditioning, it's been Justice Finkley. The way he's transformed his body since January, I think he has an unstoppable motor. And I think that, like I said, I just love his parents, and I love the foundation he comes from. And I think that he's the type of player that helps turns programs around, right? And I think that he's just relentless, and I think that he'll have a big impact this year. But I also like Ethan Burke. I said he would come back up, just a natural pass rusher, right? 6'7", 234 is what he's listed on the Texas roster. And he's a hometown kid, he's Austin Westlake, a Westlake chap. So they're going to put him in there a couple times this year. I think he makes plays. And then our offensive side, like I said, you just can't teach 10-2 speed, and we know Sark likes to take deep shots. So I'm going to say Brennan Thompson. So hopefully I didn't take your picks. But who you got? Breakout freshman on both sides of the ball.
All right. Well, since you took one of my picks, I'm gonna, look, man. Look, I'm gonna switch it all the way up. So I'm gonna say defensive side of the ball. I'm gonna say Gilbo. I think Gilbo is gonna be a guy that's gonna come in and be able to play a lot. He got some dog in him, man. Look, he's a Golden Triangle kid, man. Golden Triangle, they some beasts, man. They some beasts. So I love Gilbo. I just love his game. Like I was telling Steven, I think that his game kind of reminds me of Cedric Griffin. So Cedric Griffin back in the day, he had a long career in the league. He was a cornerback there for the Vikings. But he was a dog. I mean, a physical, tough cornerback. And Gilbo has that nastiness in him, like basically said, Cedric Griffin was a dog. I mean, he was nasty in the field, and I think that's the kind of guy that he is as well. Offensive side of the ball, I'm gonna say Savion Red, man. I like Savion
football
Red.
Player.
He's just a ball player, man.
Football player.
Yeah, and if he was at any other school where he didn't have to play quarterback and play running back and do this and do that and do that, and if he just stuck at wide receiver for his whole high school career, you're looking at a 4-star kid, probably a top 150 player in the country.
Okay, I like that. I had to put this commented up from Guadalupe. I'm very surprised Byron Murphy is a first teamer. Have you seen him play? Have you heard the reports? Like, I don't know. What's up, man? Why are you surprised, Guadalupe? I mean, you must have just subscribed to Locked On Longhorns to put that chat in here, man. You can't be listening to the show, man. Also, we got A Bull 318 said he got cut by the Ravens today. I'm assuming he's talking about Dicker the kicker. So I hope he lands on his feet.
That's why, man.
Yeah, look, that's why they got the best kicker in the league, man. He probably.
Well, Cowboys need to pick him up because Cowboys need a kicker in the worst way. They need to pick him up.
Well, they said they're going with Brett Maher. They said they're confident, man.
Could you imagine the NIL money Dicker the kicker would have made here at Texas this year? I mean, he would have killed it. He would have killed it.
Could have, should have, man. I don't know. But it would have been great, man. Shout out Max said, go hit, like, and support these chats. Please do. Once again, subscribe to Locked On Longhorns. I put it on subscriber mode, so I know if you chat and you subscribe. So I appreciate all of y'all. And then NinosCornerSports, make sure y'all subscribe to them. But Fanatic Perspective, Texas Football Talk, Nash Talks Texas. I mean, it's a whole bunch of them. Make sure y'all subscribe to the whole game, man. Texas Homer, everybody, man. Y'all, just all trying to bring y'all the best content possible, man. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I'm just rambling off the top of my head. All right, so we know some true freshmen are going to start on offense. Who do y'all think will start on defense or at least be in the 2 deep as a true freshman throughout the season? So we've already heard that Ethan Burke is in the 2 deep. I know that Justice Finkley is definitely going to get a lot of playing time this year. And then I say Jalen Gilbo. From all we've heard, he's challenged Jade Barron, especially in that boot at that star position, but he's also challenged I believe Deshawn Jameson at the corner position as well. And so I think he brings a lot of versatility in that corner room. So we've already mentioned them just via the draft and talking about freshmen. So Jalen Gilbo and I think Terrence Brooks too. I think 2 very talented corners who are going to come in and compete for playing time. And then he's not a true freshman, but I think somebody we're not mentioning enough is Jameer Johnson. I think he's going to get a lot of playing time in the DB room this year as well. So definitely. Just young players. Like I said, 57 out of 85 are true freshmen or sophomores. So I think Gilbo, Terrence Brooks and Jameer Johnson will all have an impact this year as either freshmen or sophomores in the DB room. What you think, Nino? Or do you have anything to add?
Yeah, man, same thing. So the defense is just that, offense side of the ball, it's a whole different animal. We got Banks, of course, right? We got Cole Hudson. Like those two are definitely going to start, right? And then, hey, big Ken Williams has to, like that opportunity to actually start as well, right? So you got Ken Williams, and I think DJ Kim's going to see the field too this year. So there's opportunity where we could have possibly 4 offensive linemen that are true freshmen playing on the line this year. You've already seen Cal Flood. He's already kind of training, Campbell to play center as well, right? So, just in case something happens, he wants to get his best 5 out there. And if he thinks his best 5 is 5 freshmen, he might do it.
For sure. Yeah.
I hope not.
That's why I said I think we start off with 2 true freshmen on the line, but I think at some point this year, I think you end it at least 3. Shout out to Tamara Davis right here. Love y'all's energy. Talking to me and Nino. Really special person to me. I wouldn't be here. Wouldn't be doing this show without the love and support from Tamara. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate her tuning into the live. She don't know nothing about football, but she watch every show and she support me, man. She support us. So appreciate her for real, man. All right. So we got a lot of questions. Is Rojo going to play on Saturday? I think if he needed to, he could, but I don't think he will. I just think it's too soon. And I mean, keep a spade a spade. We don't need Deshawn Jameson against Louisiana Monroe, right? No, so I just think there's no point in putting him out there against Louisiana Monroe and risking injury. I think if you can afford to give him another week, and he's been, he hasn't practiced since the first scrimmage, right? Outside of like individual work. So I just think there's no reason for him to play against Louisiana Monroe. I think if it was a conference championship game or a big conference game, he would be out there, but once again, it's Louisiana Monroe. Give him another week. Make sure he's ready for Alabama if he can be ready for Alabama. What you think? Same thing?
Yeah, man. Same here, man. Let Jonathan Brooks get some carries. Just let him get some carries. Let him get his vision straight because that dude got some good vision, man. Just let him cook.
Jonathan going for the drunk uncle look with the shades tonight, man. Hook him. All right.
Where your head at?
All right, man. I'm scrolling through the chat. They just in here talking to each other. I don't even say. Do we also have a freshman punter? Is the punter Isaac Pearson? Is he a freshman?
I don't think it's a freshman. I think he's a sophomore. I'm not sure on that one, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna be hurting. We're gonna be hurting on special teams.
Yeah. We talked about this earlier. Catch the wave. What is that? Hyphen? Yeah. -X. Catch the wave. -X. We talked about this earlier. I'm gonna let Nino speak for himself. I do not think Texas covers. I do not think Texas beats Louisiana Monroe by 39 points. What do you think? Well, you just said it. Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Right. But I think they win. Man, shout out Mac.
They win.
Nobody works harder than Mac Snell, man.
I know. I always got the fresh comments too.
Man. Every show, man. All right. So we didn't ran out of questions. In case we don't have any questions, I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm trying to think of let's see a good question for this year. I think we talked about this. On the show we recorded that's in the lost file. So I'm gonna ask this because nobody's asked this, man. Who toughest Big 12 game on the schedule this year?
I forgot who I said the first time. Of course OU, but minus OU, right? So minus OU. I forgot, who did I say? Was it Baylor? I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be Baylor. I think we're gonna know our team this year prior to Baylor. Baylor's our last game, right? So we get a good chance to see exactly where the team's going to go from Alabama to Baylor, right? I'm thinking probably Oklahoma State because I think
as soon as you said that, look at that. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. I think their quarterback, what's his name? Spencer Sanders, right? He's the wild card. It's like, what version of him is Texas going to see? Is he going to be the guy that throws 2 or 3 picks like he did it, like for the Big 12 championship game? Or is he going to be the guy that's going to come down and win some games for you? So I think he's the wild card. If he puts it together and just plays average and normal, it's a wrap. I think they'll be a good team this year. But I think he's going to get up for this game. He's a Texas kid, right? And so, he always plays well against Texas. So we'll see. I think it's going to be Okie State.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to say Baylor. I think there's a lot of candidates. I've talked about West Virginia. Nobody's talking about that game right now. I think, it's a trap game with it being the week before Oklahoma. And I think you'll see In this game against Pitt, I think West Virginia is nothing to sneeze at, right? And so I think that's going to be a tough game, but it is at home. I think Kansas State is the sexy pick. You have to go to Manhattan. I think Adrian Martinez can make plays. Yes, he's turnover prone, but so is Spencer Sanders. You just talked about that being the toughest game. And then Deuce Vaughn is the second best running back in the Big 12, but he's very explosive as well. So I think, Kansas State is a tough game, but I'm just going to give it to Baylor, right? If we've talked so much as Texas fans about how these recruiting classes have been different because we've brought in players in the trenches. We've invested in the trenches in a way that Texas hasn't since the Mack Brown era.
Mm-hmm.
Nino, objectively, who has the best offensive and defensive line in the Big 12?
Baylor.
Who are the reigning Big 12 champions?
Baylor.
So Baylor's the toughest game on the schedule, right? That's why I have to go with the comments. If we talked about the line of scrimmage being so important, Baylor has the best offensive line and defensive line in the Big 12. Yeah, so I think that has to be the toughest game on the schedule there. So I put this question up here. This is for you. They said, Nino, how good was Tim and B-Rob back in the day? We have our resident Texas alumnus, alum on the show, 01 to 05, man. So, Nino, how good was Tim and B-Rob back in the day? And you see guys on the roster that can be that level of players.
Man, Tim Crowder was a beast. Every offensive lineman and every, player in the team, basically, he was one of the strongest people on the team, right? He was always one of the strongest folks in the team. Man, B-Rob was a beast too. I mean, you're talking about guys that played in the league, right? So Tim played 5 or 6 years in the league. Bijan Robinson played, 12, 13, 14 years in the league. So these are guys that had long careers. Those are guys that had nasty attitudes. They didn't care, right? And who do I see right now on the roster? The guy with the talent that could do that is Alfred Collins. He's the guy with the talent that could do that. But it's got to be more consistent. What you saw with Bijan Robinson, what you saw with Tim Crowder was consistency all the way through. That's where those guys were draft picks. That's why Tim was a second-round draft pick. I think Bijan was a third or fourth-round draft pick, he was second round too. I forgot. But anyways, those guys were draft picks. They played long time in the league. And talent-wise, Alfred Collins is definitely a guy who can mirror that, but the light switch got to click on for him. He's got to be more consistent. I think everybody else is too young to say, if they're going to be that kind of guy. I think Justice Finkley can definitely be that kind of guy on that path. I think Tapp can be that guy on that path. Mm-hmm. Ethan Burke also, once he starts to put on weight, yeah. But, I got to see it first. I got to see it. Those guys came in, they were just dogs from day one, right? So, yeah it is what it is.
Is Casey Kane penciled in as a starter right now? I think he's your most likely candidate to start opposite Xavier Worthy. Like I said, I think, Casey Kane, Troy O'Meary, and Ajay Hall are your 3 candidates at the position behind Isaiah Nayor. And I think Casey Kane has the leg up, had a good spring, had a strong summer, and has had a good fall camp thus far, especially since Isaiah Nayor went down. Do you have anything to add to that?
So I think when Texas goes to straight up 11 personnel, Casey's going to start, right? But if they're in 12 personnel with just one tailback, two tight ends, it's going to be Whittington, and X-Men. So, but Casey's going to be definitely one of the guys starting when it comes to the actual 3 wideouts.
Yeah. Shout out to y'all once again. We still 70 people strong. Shout out to my first ever live. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to y'all. And this is something that, like I said, we want to do annually. The Longhorn Fantasy Draft. Y'all just came in. We did a draft of the 22 most important players on the Texas football team earlier. I can recap that in a little bit for y'all. But appreciate y'all, man, staying strong. I thought I was gonna end this at 8, and we didn't increase. We didn't got more people on since it's 8, man. So we rocking and we vibing. I appreciate y'all. So Catch the Wave -X says, what is the single biggest concern on defense? To me, I've said it 3-4 times. Most important position in sports: person that throws the ball, person that protects the person throwing the ball, and the person that tries to put the person throwing the ball on his ass, right? So what I'm saying is it's got to be the pass rush. And when you talk about a defense that only had 20 sacks last year, that's just abysmal, right? And I don't care what quarterback you're going against: Adrian Martinez, Spencer Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Shaw. I don't care who it is, right? If you can't get a pass rush, that's when quarterbacks and offenses are in their peak, right? If you don't have to worry about a pass rush, they're going to continue to move the ball downfield. And I talked about it. This is a Texas team that was in the triple digits last year in time of possession. As explosive as they were, 17th in scoring, they were in triple digits in time of possession. If you can't get a pass rush, you're going to continue to lose the time of possession battle. This is a team that I did this research. Y'all going to get it, man. I did this research. Their opponents averaged 31 minutes and 55 seconds time of possession, averaged last year, right? And if you can't get a pass rush, teams are going to continue to possess the ball for 32 minutes against this Texas defense. So, it's the pass rush for me. I don't think it's close, honestly. What do you think, Nino?
Hey, same here. At first I thought during the season, I was like, it's got to be like the defensive line, right? But I think with the emergence, of Murphy's going to start, having him up there, having a guy like probably Ojimo also starting next to him. You got a lot of depth with a lot of experience, right? You got a Coburn with a bunch of experience. You got a Sweat. Broughton's been coming on too as well. So Coburn's been a starter. Sweat's been a starter too as well. But for those guys to now be backups, to have guys that have been proven starters to, like the backup Murphy, I think that's going to be really good for the line. But I'm with you. It's got to be the rush, man. We had no pressure on the quarterback last year. We got to figure out some way to manufacture it.
Yeah. So shout out, Mac. I just realized, and if you said it, that's my fault. I don't think we've mentioned Tariq Milton at all this show. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we have. And so he's going to be a very integral part of this offense. So shout out to Tariq Milton as well. He might have, somebody let me know in the chat if I'm wrong, he might have more game experience than any receiver at Texas right now.
You know what's funny?
like,
you know what's funny about that? Somebody told me, I think it was somebody from OU said that, they said that Whittington and Worthy, they're good, but you guys are acting like your room is stacked. I'm like, I didn't say our room was stacked. I'm just saying that a guy like Milton, as much crap as you guys want to give Milton, he had more yards in his sophomore season than Jordan Whittington has over his whole career. This guy's he's a proven guy. Yes, he's had an injury, but he's a guy that averaged 20 yards of reception his sophomore year, so he had similar numbers to Isaiah Nayer his sophomore year. So look here, Milton's going to be a great pick. I think he's going to be the like Texas's steal of the transfer portal, minus Quinn. Quinn's a different story, right? But but I think he's that guy that's not talked about enough, and I think that he has opportunity to really step up here if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, no, I really like that. I really love this question too from Corey Peacock. He says, "Who has the best coach?" And I'm assuming it's in the Big 12. Well, yeah, we just gonna go Big 12 because obviously we win in the country. It'd be Nick Saban. So, I really like Dave Aranda, and I love what he's building. But to me, what have we seen from him? A 2-win team in the Big 12 champ. A broke clock is right twice a day. Now, I think Baylor is going to be a good program for years to come, but he's only done it once, right? And I know that Mike Gundy, I don't think he's won the Big 12 at all, but he's been very consistent for over a decade, at Oklahoma State. And we can't say that about any other coach in the Big 12 right now. So I know he hasn't had the top end results, but I'm just going off of what we've seen and, the track record. Like I said, Dave Aranda did it last year, but he's only done it once, even though Mike Gundy hasn't done it. Oklahoma State has been at least formidable, right, for a decade. So I got to give it to Mike Gundy right now. He said Gundy won the Big 12 and 11. Am I mistaken? Did he?
Yeah,
I might be wrong about that. Okay, so that adds to my argument. He does have a Big 12 title, yeah. So I got to give it to Mike Gundy right now. But I love what Dave Aranda is building, and I think that I know this isn't going to be popular, but I think with what Brent Venables can do on defense and what Lebby might be able to do on offense, I think that years down the road, they may be a candidate. And of course, Texas may be a candidate. I think Texas has put together some really good coaches. But if I had to pick right now, I just have to give it to the track record of Mike Gundy.
That's a good answer. I do like Dave Aranda though. I just like the way that he's built that team. He's built it the right way. He's made sure that I think his first 2 years there, he has built the trenches up so much. He's killed it with the trenches. And it's not folks about getting the high star athlete in the trenches all the time. Offensive lineman is one of the hardest jobs to actually evaluate, right? It's all about throwing bodies out there. And he's been really good at getting bodies out there that kind of fit a mold, almost like what Texas is doing this year, right? So everybody's saying, oh, Texas offensive linemen, they're all 3 stars, whatever. All right, so Jaden Chapman's a 4-star. He's wanted by everybody in the country. Then you got, Kojo, and you got Connor Stroh, you got Gooseby, who's a high riser, and you got Peyton Kirkland. Most of those guys are high 3 stars. I think maybe Peyton Kirkland is like a low 4 star, and Jaden Chapman, he's like a legit 4 star as well. But these are guys that you got to throw bodies at the kind of offense that you want to run. All right, so Cal Flood goes out and gets 3 guys that are 345, 355 plus, right? And so we understand that, look, offensive line is hard to evaluate, but I know if you got size and you got speed, I can't teach that. Come on over here and play, right? And so that's what David Randon's done a great job of that. So I would give Mike Gundy the edge, but I love what David Randon's doing over there.
Yeah. So, all right, we're going to get out of here. This last question, Clumsy Chemist, will we see any go-go offense this year? This is what I was laughing at, though. I had to put this up there. I don't know if this is a serious question or not. I don't know. Do they listen to rap music at Oklahoma State? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Is going to be able to read Lil Baby lyrics off of an iPad at Oklahoma State? I don't know. But do we see any go-go offense this year? Actually, I'm gonna put up one more question because somebody just dropped another question in. But do we see any go-go offense this year? I know that's something that we've heard a lot about with Brendan Marion, and I think you definitely have the running backs to implement that. So, do you think that's something we see this year?
I don't know how much we see it. I don't know if we see the go-go offense so much. I think it's maybe just seeing like a 2-back offense. And I wouldn't say marry up go-go principles, but just playing 2 backs back there, knowing that those are 2 of your most potent players on offense and letting them shine and do their work and just trying to get some kind of mismatch, right? So I don't know if it's going to be go-go per se in principle, but I do think the presence of Marion is going to bring in Texas's opportunity to put both Bijan and, hopefully Rojo back there in the backfield.
Yeah, for sure. So somebody said, go get a kicker from the soccer team. If y'all haven't heard the story of how Ole Miss got their punter, I'll tell it to you real quick. So Lane Kiffin did the press conference, and he said he was talking to the team, and he said, look, we need a punter, right? Y'all go find a punter. He said they went and found a punter with D1 experience at the frat house. Like, they said he was at a party. They just said he had D1 experience, and they brought him on to the team. Like, they was just like, all right. So he was like, I got to get his conditioning right. I haven't followed up. I need to ask our Locked On Ole Miss host, you know what I'm saying, how he's looking. But, yeah, man, if Ole Miss can go find a punter at the frat house, then, you know what I'm saying, we can find one somewhere. You know what I mean? So officially, Ethos, thank you for subscribing if you weren't already. What about Savion Red? Some reports suggested he could start opposing X-Men. Do you think that could happen? I think he's more of a slot type. Yeah, I got him in the slot. I don't think he's starting, period, but definitely not opposite of Xavier Worthy. Like I said, and like we both said, I think that the most likely candidates for that position is in 12 personnel, which is what we're going to see most of, I think, from this Texas offense. It'll be Jordan Whittington and Xavier Worthy. And then in 11 personnel, I think you're going to see Casey Kane, at least to start the season. How that develops throughout the season, we'll see. Casey Kane, Jordan Whittington, and Xavier Worthy. But remember, man, Savion Red, Brennan Thompson, these players are true freshmen, man. Everybody's not going to come in and be Xavier Worthy, man. So we got to temper the expectations. I know he's been great in the scrimmages and in the practices, but – man, no, he's not going to start opposite Xavier Worthy.
We got to have patience, man.
At least not on September 3rd. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't be the first time I've been wrong on this show, but maybe not September 3rd. What you think?
Nah, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
He'll get smashed, but he ain't starting.
So, all right, so this is off the menu for real. Somebody needs fantasy advice, all right? I really need help. Which receiving course should I use? The first one is Justin Jefferson, Jerry Jeudy, and Brandon Cooks. The second one is Keenan Allen, CeeDee Lamb, and Brandon Cooks. I'm going with the first one. I think Justin Jefferson, I think he has the most receiving yards over the last 3 years in the NFL or something. That's a nugget if y'all didn't have that. So, you know what I'm saying? I think Justin Jefferson right now is going top 5 in most fantasy drafts. And I think Jerry Jeudy is somebody who, with Russell Wilson, he has the best quarterback he's ever played with. He's one of the best pure route runners in the NFL. And I think that most people think Cortland Sutton is wide receiver 1, but I think Jerry Jeudy is wide receiver 1 really right now, but definitely by the end of the year. So I think if you got Justin Jefferson and Jerry Jeudy with Brandon Cooks, who's probably the most underrated receiver in the NFL, I'm going with that combination. I think Keenan Allen is a great receiver, but he's had some injury concerns. I think Mike Williams is a 1,000-yard receiver, and Austin Eckler is going to get a lot of touches. And then CD, you just don't know who's going to take the pressure off of him, right? The offensive line is looking real shaky. There's 2 Cowboys fans talking to you right now. Offensive line is looking shaky. We don't know when Michael Gallup's coming back. I mean, what's our third option? A 5'7", 150 Kavontae Turpin? You know what I'm saying?
Think about it.
So it's like, I mean, yeah, like you can look at it both ways. You can look at it like, okay, CD's going to get crazy targets because he has no competition, but you can also look at it like who's going to take the pressure off CD. So I like that first group, man. You know what I'm saying? We went off the menu, but I like Justin Jefferson and Jerry Jeudy. Who is the fastest receiver? I mean, I guess it would come down to, I don't know. We saw that video, though, of Jordan Whittington kind of beating Xavier Worthy in a foot race. But if it came down to, I mean, I don't know. I've seen it on the track and in the football field. I'm going Brennan Thompson, man. Who's the fastest receiver?
It's not even close. It's Brennan Thompson. Yeah. Doing a 10-2 and 100.
yeah, for sure. So, yeah, Brennan Thompson, the fastest receiver, man. This has been my first live on YouTube. It definitely won't be the last, man. I'm coming up on 7 months on Tuesday. Will be 7 months doing this podcast. And I really appreciate the support, all of the love, everybody that's been watching this live, 70 people the whole time. I remember when I started in January and February, my goal was 1,000 subscribers by football season on YouTube, and we made it to 2,000, and we're growing, and I know we got some new subscribers today. And also thank you to my guest, man, Nino, somebody I've really looked up to since I started, somebody that already had a following and does a great job covering UT sports, a UT alum, and somebody I watched and wanted to emulate myself after, and then somebody who's been great for me since I started. Anytime I've reached out, he's been somebody who's been a resource for me. Anytime I've asked him to come on the show, when I asked him to do this live, he's been all game. And so somebody that makes me better. I love watching him and seeing how I can improve and what I can do to be better, man. And so, like I said, I appreciate y'all. 2,000 subscribers in less than 7 months is something I could have never dreamed of. But we're just getting started. And, I appreciate having people in my corner, like Nick Battle, NinosCornerSports with me. So thank y'all for subscribing, watching, liking, viewing, listening. If you listen on audio, anything like that. And, Nino, I'm going to let you have the floor. But thank you for joining me for the first edition of the first annual live Texas Fantasy Football Draft. I know some of y'all missed the whole draft, but we had a good time regardless. But Nino, man, if you just want to say anything to close it out. And once again, I appreciate all of y'all. And if you're not following Nino's Corner Sports, for lack of a better term, you're losing.
Oh, man, appreciate it. Hey, man, thanks for having me on, man. So, hey, folks, anybody who's in here who is putting comments, you guys are already subscribed, to the Locked On Longhorns podcast. Anybody who is listening and not making comments, it means you're not subscribed. Subscribe. This is a great channel, man. Like,
it's free. It's free. I'm not charging y'all. It's free. I promise. Even if you want to support, you ain't never got to watch my video. Just click subscribe. Show us love. You know what I'm saying?
Show some love, man. But look, we got a lot of stuff cooking up in the backgrounds, man. I don't think you guys understand the Texas content, folks. We are very close knit. I mean, that's all of us. We have separate group chats. We're in this together. We all make each other better, man. And, having a guy like Jay Davis here, man, it's just amazing because he helps us get better as well. Everybody's looking to learn something new. He brings something fresh to the table. We accepted him with open arms. He's accepted us, man. And look, we got a lot of stuff that we're cooking up here, just for this fall season. Me, him, Steven, Texas Homer, Texas Football Talk, Nash. He's online right now. So, hey, subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to everybody's channel who does Texas content. You guys got I think, the best content providers of any college. We care. We care about the content that comes out. So, hey, man, thanks for tuning in, folks. We got one more week, and then look, it's game day.
Hey, HookEm, man. I forgot who said it. It might have been Corey. Somebody said I had the drunk uncle glasses on, so I took them off for y'all before we get out of here. But nah, for real, man. I echo everything he said. Just the fact that when I came in, I was new. I was kind of the new kid on the block, and I feel like I've, gotten better as my first time podcasting, and I've gotten better with every episode. But like Nino said, I've come in, and one thing I wanted to do was make sure that I collabed with everybody. Every Longhorn content creator. I wanted us to be really close knit, and I wanted us to, continue to bring y'all different content, and y'all just continue to see our faces because we all have big dreams, doing this, and I really appreciate that they've all been great to me, whether it was Steven, coming on the show and Fanatic Perspective, or, I've done it with Texas Football Talk. I've done, a couple things with Nino now. Looking forward to, working with anybody that does Texas content. And if you're looking forward to doing Texas content, or if you want to do any type of content, anything like this, man, the only person that's holding you back is yourself, man. I this was my dream. I'm 28 years old. I should have started doing this when I was 21, 22, but I gave up on it. I said, I'm just going to work in HR. I work in healthcare full time, full disclosure. And I do this on the side, but God was able to put this back in my lap, and I haven't looked back since. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast, if you think you have a voice, if you're thinking about doing something like this, just do it, man. Just don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about what it looks like. Don't worry about the grind. Just do it, man. And God and everything else will take care of itself, man. So they still asking questions in the chat is going crazy, man. But I know Nino got things to do. I got things to do. So, I really appreciate y'all. Once again, love y'all and hook 'em. Peace.